Tailgating with the Tigers. Now, here's your pregame host, Jordy Hultberg.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jordy Hultberg. Welcome to Tiger Vision's Tailgating with the Tigers. LSU and Georgia, universities whose athletic departments have been under constant scrutiny and controversy for the past year. However, this is a Saturday night in the fall. One thing remains constant. Saturday nights, football. I'm here with some wild and crazy tailgaters. You know, there are tailgate parties and then there are tailgate parties, but none has the elan or the aura of a tailgating party at the doorstep of Tiger Stadium. We have in front of me gourmet food. We have catfish, which I will take a sampling of later. We have meat. We have everything. No place like a Saturday night outside of Tiger Stadium before you move into Tiger Stadium. Tonight, on a serious note, two teams steep in athletic tradition. Successful football programs meet for only the 17th time. While LSU leads that series 9-6-1, the past two meetings have not been anything that the Tiger fans want to write home about. Let's look back, turn the hands of the clock back, 2 years of LSU against Georgia.
A packed crowd of 77,000 jammed into Tiger Stadium almost 8 years ago to this date to witness a tight-fisted game between LSU and Georgia. The Tigers were the first to attack with this 2-yard run by Charlie Alexander in the first quarter. Then it was this picture-perfect 83-yard touchdown bomb from quarterback Steve Ensminger to Carlos Carson to put the Tigers ahead 14-zip in the second quarter. Mike Conway then added a 39-yard field goal to give the Tigers a 17-7 lead at the halftime intermission. A Vince Dooley halftime talk charged the Bulldogs up as Lindsey Scott stormed down the field for a 99-yard kickoff return at the onset of the third quarter. The Bulldogs added a field goal, and this Willie McClendon 6-yard touchdown run put the Dogs ahead for the first time in the game. The Bulldog defense held the Tigers to 33 total yards in the second half to win the grudge match. The final, Georgia 24, the Tigers 17. One year later, an improved Tiger squad traveled to Athens to play between the hedges, attempted to avenge the 1978 loss. The Bulldogs lit up the scoreboard in the first quarter with this electrifying 13-yard touchdown run by Amp Arnold. On the ensuing kickoff, Chris Williams found an open alley and charged to the Bulldog 41-yard line. Leroy Jones capped the Tiger drive with this dive into the end zone to tie the game at 7 at the intermission. In the third quarter, the Bulldogs recovered a Tiger fumble on the 37-yard line. Matt Simon put the Bulldogs ahead with this 11-yard run only 4 plays later. Georgia's third quarter luck continued as quarterback Buck Bellew hit Carmen Prince for the Bulldogs' third touchdown of the afternoon. The Tigers completed another scoring drive when quarterback David Woodley scrambled into the end zone. For the Tigers, however, it was not enough as Georgia defeated LSU for the second consecutive year. The final, Georgia 21, LSU 14.
Hopefully the LSU Tiger fans will have something a little bit more exciting to talk about after tonight's game. The Tigers have lost, as we just saw, 2 straight. They do lead the series 9-6-1. I'm going to have something to eat before we go to a commercial break because, heck, I think I deserve it right now. We're going to have a little chicken with some orange on it, and this isn't bad, but I had a chance earlier in the week to talk to defensive line coach Pete Jenkins. He, with Henry Thomas, Roland Barbay, and the rest, that's one of the key elements to tonight's ball game. When we come back with this tailgating group, you'll see a piece I did with Coach Pete Jenkins. This isn't bad. How about it?
at Gottschalk's, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, Maison Blanche, New Orleans.
Used to be, if you weren't part of a group, finding affordable health insurance was a nightmare. But now, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Louisiana introduces the Affordable Value Plus plan in the nick of time. Solid basic protection at a no-frills cost for individuals and families. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Louisiana. You can depend on it.
Coach, you've been at LSU for a long time now. You still look in great shape, and you're in charge of the defensive line. Probably the point of action where you stress the most in concentration, the most in aggressive play. Something that you've always tested to.
Well, it's a position by nature that, Jordy, that requires that, and you have to establish that neutral zone, and if you're going to win football games, you have to do that to give your linebackers points to work around and things like that. So we try to get good people and put them there and overcome their coaching and establish that zone as ours.
It kind of all starts right in the middle. That's the focus on the center. And with Henry Thomas there, you've got to feel like you've got somebody that's experienced. He's had some injuries in the past, but he's holding up pretty tough now. And to talk about him for us.
Well, he's quite a guy, Henry is, and as well as a football player, he's a terrific person to coach, and he's a hungry guy that plays hard and is very coachable, and I believe he could coach. I really do, Jordan. He's a guy that football makes a lot of sense to him, and I think Henry could go into coaching and be successful. He's big and strong, of course, and he's a 400-pound bencher, and he's a very good technique football player.
You know, you've coached some good ones.
Yes.
I keep thinking of one, Leonard Marshall, who's making a nice living for the New York Giants. So what does it take to make that transition from a college game into that upper level of the professional ranks? So is it a certain thing that's inborn, or is it just a combination of things?
Well, you know, I haven't never been there. You know, I don't know that I fully understand, but you know, speed and size and the ability to play football. You know, speed and size is one of the prerequisites, but it's just like in basketball, you've got to be able to play the game. And Leonard was a guy who was a very, very fine football player, as is Henry. I think Henry's got a good chance of being a successful professional football player. Carl Wilson, I think, has the same capabilities as well as Barbeck. We're really lucky. We're blessed with some really good talent at this particular time, and the only thing I hate about they're all seniors.
They're all seniors. Let's talk about something else now. Pass rush. Very crucial to a team that plays man-to-man coverage in the secondary with linebackers that drop back. What does it take to put some more heat on the quarterback, and what are we doing to try and to accomplish that?
The two long passes that we gave up to Miami High were in first down situations, and they were play action, meaning that they faked the run and then came off the run fake and threw the ball in the post. And this limits your pass rush. When you can really get the good pass rushes against drop-back teams that drop back in the pocket and show you pass, this allows us to really use our pass rush techniques. And when Miami High did the other night, we were successful in putting good heat on them. The problem with the play action that it presents to you defensively is that you must play run first, honor the run first, and then you must make that transition from run to pass. And if you didn't have to hold the ball very long, you really don't figure into it. I give Miami High credit because they were both first down calls, which has your defense playing run and pass equally, you know, and you really don't know what to anticipate. So they were first down calls and they were play action, and we weren't able to be as helpful with the rush as we'd like to be.
Well, that one's over with, and we get on to the next one. But in my opinion, the most important thing in successful coaching or anything is recruiting and getting those players to come out and play here for 4 years, because you have the turnaround, and you're regarded as one of the top recruiters in the country. I asked Coach Sullivan this same question. If you're out there looking for that one guy that you could make to be your perfect defensive lineman, what would he be like? Would he be about 6'8", about 300, and or no, within realistic terms?
Well, you know, I don't really know that height. You know, height is a thing that I don't know that you can say he'd be so high or so. You know, football players are like basketball players, or you know, they're guys who can play, and guys who respond to coaching, and guys who are unselfish, and guys who do things that fit into your scheme, and guys who have quick feet, and guys who have quick hands. And those are some of the things that I think about. We do that for our recruiting purposes. We write up a ideal type situation, you know, and ideally, you know, he could run fast and have good acceleration, and he'd have the quick hands and quick feet. He'd be an aggressive person by nature, and of course, the size is debatable. You know, the bigger the better. But, you know, guys get too tall sometimes to play on the defensive line. They can become susceptible to the low blocks and things like that. But I think size is debatable. Heart, quickness, character, and reaction time, and those things are not debatable. If you're going to be a good football player and if you're going to be a successful defensive lineman, you have to have those things.
Coach Pete Jenkins, he's in charge of the defensive line, and he's a good one. He's coached a lot of good ones, and hopefully he'll continue to coach some more because he can recruit with the best of them. As you can see, they kind of take things a little seriously here outside of Tiger Stadium for a tailgating party. When we come back after this commercial messages, we'll have a chance to talk to the head man of the Georgia Bulldogs, Coach Vince Dooley. So stay with us.
It's college football at its best this Saturday when the LSU Tigers travel to Lexington to take on the Kentucky Wildcats. Don't miss this great SEC matchup live on Select Event via Tiger Vision for only $19.50. The Wildcats will be looking to avenge last year's shutout at the hands of the Tigers, while Bill Arnsparger's squad hopes to stay in the battle for the SEC crown. It's the Tigers against the Wildcats live this Saturday only on Select Event. To order, call 923-3500.
He doesn't know it yet, but he's about to become the world's first time traveler.
This is nuts.
Back to when his mother was a teenager looking for love.
It's an absolute dream.
Whoa, this is heavy.
Back to when his father needed a little push.
I'm your density. No wonder I was even born.
Meet Marty McFly, the first kid ever to get into trouble before he was even born. Steven Spielberg presents a Robert Zemeckis film, Back to the Future.
Don't miss Back to the Future, coming to Select Event October 30th.
Vince Dooley's been the head coach at Georgia for 23 years. Last night at their workout, Doug Moore had a chance to talk about his version of the Georgia Bulldogs this year.
Coach Dooley, you're here in Tiger Stadium for the first time since 1978, and of course you came away with a victory then. What do you expect from this game? You have kind of an unusual team, or I would call it unusual for a Georgia team. It's not the stereotype Vince Dooley team.
Well, I suppose it is a little different. I think that we have an image characteristically of having a good defense and also having a strong running game and not throwing the ball very well. Whereas this team, the defense is not very good. We're running average, I would say, but we are throwing the ball better than most Georgia teams. So in that respect, we are different than what has normally characterized Georgia football.
Now, when your people line up on defense, you line them up in different places than most of the teams that the LSU fans have seen, and basically the same defense that we'll see against Kentucky next week and against North Carolina the following week. Would you tell our viewers how you line up and why you line up that way and who you rely upon?
Well, we're basically an 8-man front team, which we base out of, and historically have done that for the past 23 years. But we do have a variety of defenses. Sometimes the reason that we're lining up in so many different places is that we're lining up with so many young people that sometimes they don't know where to line up. So it looks like that they're lining up in unusual spots, and they are. But we are hopeful that perhaps we could get some of the injured players back, like Henry Harris, who is the one player that we really miss in the line, and that's one of our problems. But we're basically an 8-man front, which is a little bit different than most teams that are the 50 concept of the 7-man line.
Now, how about you, John Little? You line him up in all kinds of different places, but he always ends up at the same place, and that's on top of the football.
Well, John Little is a good player, and he's normally a rover back or an outside linebacker. But, again, because of injuries and inexperience at the safety position, we had to move him to safety, which is a compliment to his versatility, but also shows also our problems. He's only played there one game, and he's really just learning the position. I just wish that we had more John Little so that we could line him up in 2 or 3 different spots.
Well, you have a fellow at quarterback, James Jackson, who seems to give you a new dimension. He does an awful lot of things and is really an exciting player.
James Jackson is very quick. He needs to be because he's so small. He only weighs 165 pounds. But he's got a strong arm for a little fella, and he is quick. But what is important is that we don't overdo him and don't let him run the ball too much. And try to give it to the backs instead of him running, and that's what concerns me is the fact that LSU, which is so quick on defense, he's not going to have some of the running opportunities that he's had in the past few games.
Coach Dooley, I appreciate you taking the time to talk with us. I know that your team is much better than you tell us that it is. Seen them play for years and I've always admired your teams. We look forward to the game. Thank you for being with us.
Appreciate it.
Jordy, Coach Dooley sounds kind of like Coach Bryant used to sound with his poor little old boys that can't compete with anybody else. I know you don't believe that, so I'm going to throw it back to you.
Vince Dooley, as I mentioned, 23 years at the University of Georgia. He's third among active winning coaches. He's won only 178 career victories. That puts him only behind Bo Schembechler and Joe Paterno. A winning percentage of 71%. He's won 6 Southeastern Conference championships, second only to the late Bear Bryant. He's won a national championship with a 12-0-0 record with the great Herschel Walker in the backfield. And he has a 2-0 record against the LSU Tigers. So the Tigers have their backs wall if only Vince Dooley could play. But only he'll be on the sidelines. Now we're going to go and look at some of today's scores of games of interest in the Southeastern Conference. Alabama, second in the country, 37, excuse me. Memphis State, nothing. Shula with another excellent day. Auburn, 31. Vanderbilt, 9. Fullwood rushed over 100 yards with a touchdown. Let's see. Florida finally gets on the winning ways with a big win over Kent State, 52-9. The backup quarterback for Kerwin Bell comes in and throws for 250 yards. Ole Miss, in a big Southeastern Conference game, plays LSU's next opponent. They beat them 33-13. And in a big shocker, Army 25, Tennessee 21. So the Tennessee Volunteers having some trouble, but the beat goes on for Alabama and for Auburn. Mississippi State is under the lights tonight. All three of those teams undefeated in the Southeastern Conference. That shows you how crucial tonight's ball game is between LSU and Georgia. If we look at the Southeastern Conference standings, you see that Alabama and Auburn and Mississippi State all with 2-0 records. Alabama 6-0, second in the country. Auburn 7th in the country. LSU is at 1-0, tied with Georgia. Ole Miss with a big win is at 1-1. Kentucky, LSU's opponent next week, is yet to be on the win column. They're 0-1, 1-4, 3-1-1, excuse me, overall. Vanderbilt having a difficult year, 0-2 in the SEC, 1-4 for the season. Tennessee, after the Southeastern Conference Championship of a year ago, it shows you must have players. They have lost a lot of players. They're 0-2, 2-3 overall. Florida, 0-3 and 2-4 overall after their big win today over Kent State, a game that they desperately needed. As the Skillmans walk past me, good buddies of mine, they're going to the ball game. It's been fun being with the tailgaters. Right now, we're going to throw it to the Golden Band from Tigerland. I'll see you throughout the first half and again at halftime.
a part of the LSU team. Become a member of Tigers Unlimited, LSU's athletic fundraising organization, and help the Tigers in their quest to have the nation's best overall athletic program. Tigers Unlimited helps the LSU athletic department by providing scholarships for over 300 student athletes. The organization also helps the athletic department with capital improvements, such as stadium improvements and renovations. Last year, Tigers Unlimited contributed over $800,000 to the athletic department and played a key role in the overall success of the athletic program. It also allowed the athletic department to make a sizable donation to the university to be used for academic projects. Tigers Unlimited memberships began at the Spirit Club level with a $100 donation. Presently, there are 16 Tigers Unlimited chapters in Louisiana, Texas, and Mississippi. For more information concerning Tigers Unlimited chapter memberships, contact the chapter president in your area or call Tigers Unlimited at 504-388-6606. Get involved with the Tigers today through Tigers Unlimited. The Tiger Vision cameras follow the LSU Tigers to the Bluegrass State next Saturday night for a key Southeastern Conference game against the Kentucky Wildcats. Kentucky head coach Jerry Claiborne is hoping his Wildcat squad can snap a 4-game Commonwealth Stadium losing streak to the Tigers. The exciting '86 season continues on Tiger Vision next Saturday night as LSU and Kentucky square off live from Lexington, Kentucky. Pre-game begins at 6 p.m., kickoff set for 6:30. Tiger Vision presents 1986 Fighting Tiger Football. Brought to you by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Louisiana. You can depend on it. And the Tigra, makers of fine sportswear.
Everybody, and welcome to Tiger Stadium. Here's our national anthem. Everybody, and welcome from Tiger Stadium. I'm John Ferguson, and this is Doug Morrow. Jordy Holtberg, you've already seen on the sidelines and down under the stadium, and he had the advantages of the tailgating situation there, so we'll get on with the game. It's a big game with the Georgia Bulldogs playing against the LSU Tigers, a Southeastern Conference game. Doug? Georgia has a record of 3-1, losing to Clemson only. LSU's record is 2-1, losing only to Miami of Ohio. And the teams are of comparable size, and it may be a situation of which team can muster the most firepower and get it going in the game.
Well, you know, when you listen to poor old Coach Vince Dooley, you'd think that Georgia was going to cancel this game. He talks about his 4 little small boys, and he does not have a very big football team. That's not particularly unusual. Georgia relies upon quickness and always has, and they've always been very quick, even when they've been larger than they are this season. What they are is very well coached, and that's the most important thing, because LSU so far had to take advantage of the mistakes of the opponents. Florida last week essentially gave LSU the football game. I don't think you can expect Georgia to do that this evening. They have had difficulties on defense, but they've improved, and they have gotten to the point where you've really got to work to move against them, and offensively they're very explosive. So LSU's got a tough test ahead of them tonight.
Speaking of that, Georgia seems to be rolling up more offensive power than the LSU Tigers. Let's compare the stats now and see what these two teams have done so far. 25 points about per game on the average. You see that rushing average for Georgia is much higher than the LSU average. And LSU is passing a little better. And overall, Georgia is averaging 422.5 yards per game to LSU's 372.7. Here come the Fighting Tigers in their purple jerseys, gold pants and headgear, and ready for the Georgia game here at Tiger Stadium.
John, you see one statistic that is about the same for both teams, and that was the fumbles and the fumbles lost category. Georgia had a lot of problems with fumbles the first 3 games. They feel that they have solved that problem and did so last week, and so that's one of the things, the turnovers, that they feel they've cut out.
On the schedule so far, the games that have been played so far, we mentioned that Georgia has been beaten only by Clemson, and LSU has been beaten only by Miami of Ohio. The two teams have played good schedules so far, so there's not much difference in that kind of thing. Defensive stats are, as you see, LSU is giving up more in the air, but a lot less on the ground, and the two teams defensively are giving up in the neighborhood of the same amount of yardage.
And you see that Georgia has given up a lot of yardage rushing, but LSU hasn't gained much yardage rushing. I don't think they can rely upon Georgia giving them those yards. The Tigers need to take advantage of that. LSU needs to have some consistency on offense.
Dick Burleson is going to flip the coin. There it goes. LSU has the choice. And let's see what they're going to do. You see Andolsek and John Hazard and the other Tigers there. And they're lining up. LSU is going to defend the south goal and receive. Georgia will defend the goal to our left, the northern goal, and then kick off to start the ball game. But back to the schedules, Doug. South Carolina was a good opponent for Georgia. Texas A&M was a great opponent for LSU. Clemson was a formidable foe for Georgia. Miami of Ohio, well, Miami of Ohio is turning out to be a big team in the Mid-America Conference, so that wasn't as surprising a loss as it turned out.
Well, it's pretty early in the season to be able to tell what the opponents mean. Miami of Ohio, I think, is better than we thought they were when they came in here. Clemson has a good football team, and that's Georgia's only loss. Most importantly, the schedule shows that Georgia can score points this year, and they haven't been that way. Even with Herschel Walker, they only rolled up big points against teams that might be inferior. So that's something LSU's got to beware of, because they have been susceptible to the big touchdown play this season.
We have a big crowd here at Tiger Stadium. Temperature on the field is about 87 or 88 degrees. Here is the AP Top 10, and you see that LSU is number 16 there with a record of 2 victories and a defeat. And Georgia, with a record of 3-1, is not listed in that particular group, though the list is headed by Miami of Ohio, followed by Alabama, Nebraska, Michigan, Penn State, as you see. We're about ready for the kickoff to start tonight's game.
Georgia's going to be kicking to LSU. The Tigers had the option, and they chose to go ahead and take the football rather than to defer to the beginning of the second half. Don't know if that tells you anything, but maybe LSU has decided that with this Georgia defense, they would like to find out right away, Coach Arnsparger and his staff, if they can take advantage of the problems that Georgia has had defensively. You're going to see Georgia lining up in an unusual defense, as Coach Dooley said, and I'm sure he was saying it in jest. With all his young kids, some of them don't know where to line up. I promise you, they know where to line up, and they know where to end up, and that's around the football.
A look at the series record, and here's the kickoff to start tonight's game. That ball is going all the way down to the 8-yard line. There comes Salisbury bursting out to just shy of the 30-yard line. The Tigers have it, first down and 10 yards to go, and the game is on here at Tiger Stadium. There comes the receiving team for LSU off the field, and the men who want to do something with the football are on the field. There's the starting offensive line. And the other men led by quarterback Tom Hodson. Here are the Tigers now with a slot eye to the left. Georgia in a 3-man front. And those defensive ends are not down in a 3-point stance, of course. Flag as a run up the middle. Carries for not too much yardage. John Brantley and Steve Boswell, linebackers in the middle, make the stop. And we have have a discussion, Doug. At the very start of the game, this crew is led by Dick Burleson, one of the SEC's finest, giving the first infraction signal of the game. It is illegal procedure against the Tigers. That will carry a 5-yard assessment. The man who carried the football in that first play was Harvey Williams. And Sam Martin, number 23, is in the game at tailback, replacing Williams, as the Tigers now begin officially from their 24-yard line. Starting defensive line for Georgia, John Bradley, one of the fine linebackers of the conference. There's the rest of the group, led by safety man number 19, All-America John Little. Spread formation. That's Sammy Martin. Nice run on 1st and 15. About a 10-yard gallop to the 34-yard line. Georgia's Mike Brown, number 49, is the first man to make contact, and there's Sammy. A New Orleanian has 146 yards rushing the football coming into the game, and he has been the receiver of 8 passes for 175 yards. Nothing, just beginning play here at Tiger Stadium. Big game. Each team unbeaten in conference play, and Hodson will throw. A lot of time. Complete to Kitchen, first down. And he's wrapped up by Steve Boswell. There's a scramble, and the ball is rocked loose. But I think LSU has possession. First down, the Tigers. Here it is again, Doug.
John, he was clearly down anyway, I think, when he dropped the football. Here you see Hodson with a play fake. He's looking to the left side, and then Brian Kitchen, who crossed from the left side, makes the catch. He fights forward to get the first down. He takes some licks, and there's the ball dropped on the ground. LSU made the recovery, but for the first down.
First and 10, they spot the ball at the Tiger 41. Sammy Martin. Oh, that's Harvey Williams for a first down right up the middle for 17. Gary Moss and John Little prevent his traveling the whole distance. He stopped at the Bulldog 42-yard line. Fine run by this great prospect.
John, look at that Georgia defense. You see there's no man over the nose of the center. That leaves a natural gap in the middle, and that's exactly where LSU trapped to. Georgia's been susceptible all season to being run on. They have not gotten the support out of the linebacking core.
There he goes again. First down. That's another 11-yarder for Harvey Williams, who is really red hot to start the game. Stopped by John Little, but Harvey Williams, who shows great promise, picks up another first down and 10 for the LSU Tigers. The ball is at the 31 on the near inbound line.
And remember now, this is just the first series, but LSU has established a solid running game, and they've mixed in the pass completion of Brian Kitchen, who incidentally laid the key block that time that resulted in the first down.
Tigers back up to the line of scrimmage. Georgia's had great teams in the past. Each of these teams has won 8 or 9 games the last couple of years. Hodson down to McGee. Over his fingertips, just a shade. Right at the pylon. Incomplete. Second down and 10. And what would be your editorial position on the offensive call there, Doug?
Well, it's the play that worked for a touchdown against Florida last week. And so if it had worked for a touchdown tonight, I think you'd have to say it was a great call. McGee was open enough. The ball was slightly overthrown. But I think LSU probably feels that they've controlled the line of scrimmage or established control of it enough where they can take that slight gamble, and you really can't disagree with that.
Moss is to the right, flanked over there, and Wendell Davis is split to the left. Hodson barking out a change at the line. Blitz coming. He shoots it out here. Dropped by Martin. Incomplete. It's a forward pass. John Brantley was giving some problems over here. And so Hodson was hurried. But he did pick up the blitz, which Georgia telegraphed early in the defensive set.
Well, they do, but they line up so many people up near the ball. They have 8 people up there, and they can blitz with a lot of combinations. Brantley is known as Rambo, and you can see why that time. He's a hell-bent-for-leather type player. He's always coming after the football. That time, LSU did not pick up the blitz on the blocking scheme, but Hodson did a good job of reading it and getting rid of the ball.
Sammy Martin, for the first time, as the wide receiver possibility left. Flank widely to the right. McGee and Wendell Davis is split to the right about 6 or 7 yards. Hodson, a deep drop. Screen pass? No, he's going to have to run it. He's in trouble and down by Aaron Chubb, number 28, at the 35. McGee was trying to wrest himself from almost the grip of the defensive player in the backfield. That was Doug Samuel. No other receiver was definitely open, according to the view of Hodson, and so he ate the ball. 4th down and about 14 from the Georgia 35. And that will be Murray to try a kick. He likes to take a 2-step and then boot the ball very high, and he has good ability to get it down inside the 10. Let's see if he does. 2 steps. Here goes the ball, tail dragging toward the corner in the end zone. He just missed it. So on the touchback, the Georgia Bulldogs will take over 1st and 10 at their 20. So the Tigers go from their 29 to the Georgia 35 before punting. And Georgia has now 1st down and 10 at the Bulldog 20-yard line. Here's the starting offensive front wall for Georgia. Key player there would be Sadowski, and you see the quarterback is James Jackson, number 14. Man in motion to the left, and here comes Lars Tate. Sweep to the right. Down at the 22 by Ron Sancho. Now, it is the problem of Ron Sancho and Eric Hill to take the place of the departed Michael Brooks, LSU's All-America outside linebacker. This is the way they set up in the front 3 and 2 other fellows. And then you see Hill, Sancho, and the defensive secondary. Lane is the man in motion. 1 yard on this particular carry as the Tigers burst through. Toby Caston and Nicky Hazard lead the Tigers, and that ball is going to be spotted at about the 22-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 8 yards to go for Georgia.
That's just a good, solid play by the defensive front. They forced the runner back to the inside. Nicky Hazard had taken good position up and made the tackle. Georgia has a difficult play here on their first series, 3rd and long yardage.
Jackson has good mobility and a pretty good arm. Back to throw a lot of time. Drops the ball. No, it's going to be an incompleted forward pass that slipped out of his hands. He has some strange things happen to him at quarterback. Remember, he put the ball on the ground as time ran out of the South Carolina game. And now he drops the ball here on his forward motion to throw a forward pass. It's Georgia's ball still, but 4th down and 8. The point of the down, the 22 in Georgia territory.
But you left out the most interesting, and that's when he came up and lined up behind the guard to call the snap play, and the guard looked back and said, James, you're behind the wrong guy. Don't have the ball.
That's not a joke. It did happen. Here's Carpenter to punt. Pointed the down the 22, very high kick and pretty short. Caught near midfield at the LSU 49-yard line by Jefferson. That's a 29-yard kick. That won't do much for you in a big game. Now the Tigers have great field position to start this series. That last Tiger drive was 36 yards in length. Georgia's was 2. So that's where we are now. The LSU Tigers have the ball at their 49-yard line. 1st down. Hodson sets up an I slot to the left. Check the defensive front. You'll see what's happening there. 3 down linemen. Fake and a pass complete to Davis. 1st down. That is Davis' 23rd reception of the year. This one for 19 yards. John Little gets credit for the Bulldog tackle.
And John, this is a good combination pattern. Watch Wendell Davis. He runs a curl pattern, and Raji McGee from the slot comes out into the flat. It puts pressure on Georgia's linebacker to make a decision. You see he got caught in the middle, and Hodson laid it in there perfectly to Davis, who turned it into a 1st down.
Now here's the new offensive set. Kinchin is flexed out to the right at tight end. Here goes Harvey Williams. Tripped on the way through a small gap by Paul Giles, number 97. The 30-yard 20-yard line is where he's down to the turf, which incidentally, in spite of intermittent rain yesterday afternoon and some today, the field is absolutely dry. Second down, 8 yards to go. Wide left. There's Kinchin, the tight end, flexed out about 7 or 8 yards outside the left tackle, Norwood. Here's a draw with Williams hit hard. And coming along hard, Steve Boswell bumps him down. But the big guy from Hempstead, Texas, and not all that big really, can take a blow. He's down at the 28-yard line. It's 3rd down and 6 for LSU.
And he's gotten a couple of opportunities here this evening and turned them earlier in the game into pretty decent runs. He's just about a step away from breaking a lot of runs. And once he learns whatever the move is that he needs to get in the open field, he's not going to be caught.
He's just that close from breaking a number of big plays. Speaking of Harvey Williams, back to throw Hodson on 3rd and 6. He got it at the 20-yard line. Wendell Davis for the first down. He bobbled it 2 or 3 steps. It's 1st and 10 on a great catch, the 24th of the year by Wendell Davis.
John, this is great concentration because the pass is a very difficult pass to catch. Wendell Davis is actually running towards the football, and his concentration is fantastic to be able to tip the ball in the air, keep your eye on it, catch it, and particularly in the situation where he needed the first down. Terrific concentration by Wendell Davis.
You see why he ranks 3rd in the country in receiving. Georgia has this one figured. Boswell. Sammy Martin didn't have a chance there. There he is. Sam is a young father and a very talented player. And he has the adaptability of playing outside as well as inside. The ball is back at the 21-yard line, Georgia territory, 2nd down, 11. No score in the game in the first quarter here at Tiger Stadium. And Hodson looks him over. Is he checking off? Quick pass on a blitz, complete at the 15, and another fine concentration exhibit by Wendell Davis. What a season he's having.
A little bit better pass would have resulted there in a touchdown or a much longer game. Georgia with the blitz coming. Hodson checked off, and you see how wide open Wendell Davis was down that slot. And if the ball had not been thrown behind him, he had running room all the way to the goal line. But credit Hodson with making the right call. Davis with the concentration. That's much better than an incompletion.
3rd and 4 at the Georgia 15 for the LSU Tigers. And again, Hodson marks out the option. Slot to the right. He throws way out there to McGee and very nicely throws the ball beyond trouble. Little was covering McGee, the intended receiver. It's 4th down. Here comes Ronnie Lewis in to try a field goal. He's 2 out of 4. And he's very good from this distance.
John, Ronnie Lewis kicking down on the same end where he had an incident several weeks back in the Miami of Ohio game. Let's hope that he makes the kick and that he and the fans make up, and it's a happy marriage thereafter.
Lewis to try the 3-pointer. Here's his kick. It's good. Timeout in the first quarter with 7:16 to play in the period. The score is now LSU 3, Georgia nothing.
Tickets are now on sale for the 1987 NCAA Division I men's and women's track and field championships to be held at the Bernie Moore Track Stadium on the LSU campus on June 3rd through the 6th. A $20 ticket entitles you to admission to every event of the 4-day meet. Tickets are available at the LSU Athletic Ticket Office. For more, 388-2184. Come on out and see the greatest track and field athletes in the nation, June 3rd through 6th, Bernie Moore Track Stadium. You will really enjoy it. It's going to be a great meeting.
Matt DeFrank will kick off from the Tiger 35 to get us going again. Down deep for Keith Henderson on the near side, and number 4, Fred Lane, a speedster on the other side. Henderson from the goal line. Flips at the 12. He was in trouble almost from the Tigers' number 29, Willie Bryant. And so from the Georgia 12, the Bulldogs seem to be having a little difficulty getting adjusted to the foray here.
And LSU can controlled the ball for 3 minutes, 24 seconds there on that drive that led to the field goal. That's a very important thing for the LSU offense. One, keep that defense off the field. Secondly, maintain the football and keep Georgia's offense off the field.
There's the Georgia eye with James Jackson, number 14, down under. Bootleg this way. Chased by Sancho. Sancho gets him at the 21. A yard short of a first down. Nice call and a good play for Jackson.
And watch the play. A good fake by Jackson with his quickness. He makes the fake. Ron Sancho, you see there, when he took that step inside, he knew, I shouldn't have done it. His responsibility is to get as deep as the deepest man in the backfield and not allow himself to be outrun. He made the mistake. He recognized it and came back and made a fine play. But Jackson with an excellent fake for a long yardage, 9 yards on first down.
2nd and 1. The Bulldogs are out to their 21-yard line. Henderson for a first down for Georgia. The Bulldogs first in the game. He gets about 10 yards on the carry, and he is stopped by Eric Hill. They spot the ball back at the 30. Take a yard away, but it's still first down for the Bulldogs. The Bulldog team, coached by Vince Dooley in his 23rd year, is comprised primarily of players from the state of Georgia. There's the eye. And in motion, Osborne. Back gets the ball. David McCluskey carries, hit by Nicky Hazard. They go down at the 37-yard line. Short side of the field to the right of the formation here. And we've told you many times, as we've observed, that a lot of collegiate teams like to go to the short side. Simplifies the blocking, among other things. From the 37, that's Cassius Osborne in motion. And there's that up back again with the ball. Cutting back inside Barbay and is tackled by Steve Rehage. Another Bulldog, first down and 10 yards to go at the LSU end of the playing field, shy 4 yards. So first down.
And on consecutive plays, the fullback in that eye gets the ball, gets the call, and makes good yardage. He's not the back that LSU expects to carry the ball. As a matter of fact, until this season, I don't believe the Georgia fullbacks got to carry the ball more than 20 times during the year. This Georgia offense, though, utilizes all of the backs, and they'll utilize them a lot more in the passing game.
But up back now is Keith Henderson, who's in on the kickoff team. Here's a halfback pass. It is incomplete. Intended for Troy Sadowski, who went down along with Rehage, and the halfback, Lars Tate, was on his way down to the turf as he unleashed the ball.
Georgia had a good chance to make a play out of this. Watch Steve Rehage down the middle of the field on defense. He was over there in the right area. I don't know that he realized he had a chance to make the interception because the pass was thrown short. Had Tate not slipped down, the receiver was behind Rehage and could have made the reception, but Rehage, as it turned out, did have a chance for the interception, just didn't realize it.
There's a different set for Georgia, and here is a pass too low. I don't know who the receiver was on that one. Maybe Sadowski, but Barbay was back there to give a lot of trouble to James Jackson, but he had an inordinate amount of time to deliver the football. 3rd down and 10. The Bulldogs are at their 46. Tigers' last win over Georgia was in 1953. At Georgia, 14-6, as Coach McClendon used to say, it was played behind the bushes. 3rd down and 10. It's really behind the hedges. David McCluskey gets to midfield plus a yard, and Caston and Hazard bring him down. It's 4th down for Georgia. That's Georgia's biggest possession so far in terms of yardage gain. That's Norman Jefferson back to receive possible punt. Chris Carpenter with a 45.7 average. Punters are good in this game. The Tigers rushing pretty hard. He gets away a wobbly kick to Jefferson down inside the 20. No run back on a fair catch. 33 yards on that punt.
Carpenter is a fine baseball player on a fine Georgia baseball team. As a matter of fact, he's debating whether to turn professional as a baseball player. He's been drafted previously. LSU with 8.5 yards on first down so far in this ball game, and that's been the secret to their offensive success. Carpenter averages over 5 seconds hang time per kick, and that is a phenomenal statistic. It doesn't allow a run back whatsoever.
There's a pitch back to Martin. He's cutting back against the green, and here he comes. One more step. He's at the 30. First down, out of bounds at the 33. Aaron Chubb stops him, and Martin shows his great agility as he was just able to keep his balance, just moving along.
And this is a good cutback. Georgia's pursuit is what took them out of this play. Martin was supposed to go over right tackle. Nothing was there, obviously. A smart play by Davis, not making the clip there. But excellent effort by Sammy Martin to pick up the first down, move LSU outside of their own 30-yard line.
Martin weighs 165. Hodson, quick shot out there to Moss. He got a lot of work out of that one, didn't he? He produced well up to the 41-yard line. Little stayed right with him, but it's a good gain on first down.
Tony Moss, a youngster from Bossier City who can really break things open. He's got great quickness in the open field. He's a running back from high school. LSU has used him as a receiver, and it appears that whenever they have the opportunity as a receiver or a kick returner, they've got great confidence in his handling the football.
I'm intrigued by the number of variations of the Tigers' offensive set. There's the second down 2 play with Williams, stopped by Terry Webster, new inside linebacker, number 60. John Batiste was ahead of Harvey Williams, but it got clogged up in there.
John, that Georgia defense, where they line up 8 people literally up at the line of scrimmage, really challenges you to run the ball straight at them. And what LSU is doing is splitting out both ends. It puts pressure on Georgia to try to decide what side to send the rover to, because the rover back normally keys on the tight end, and when the tight end is split out as a split end, then he doesn't know really which side is the strong side of the formation, as much motion as LSU uses. So it appears that what they're trying to do is spread out that defense and then utilize that both in the passing and the running game, and so far it's been successful.
Rover is also known as a strong safety in various terminologies.
I guess rover for a team with a dog as their mascot is a kind of an appropriate thing.
I think that's right. By the way, that Georgia mascot, the Bulldog, lives in Savannah, not where Georgia is in Athens. First and 10, the Tigers at their 43. Garland John Batiste, the St. Martinville Flyer, is down at about the 47 or 8. Terry Webster again makes the tackle. They spot the ball at the 48-yard line. And again, Doug, I go back to the variations in the Tigers' offensive sets. As the Tigers lead the Bulldogs 3-0 in the first quarter, we have 2.5 minutes remaining in the period. There's Vince Dooley. He's done a job. He was hired by Joel Eves, the athletic director at Georgia, from Auburn. And he was a rather obscure assistant coach at Auburn. Went to school at Auburn, played football there, and Joel Eves, one of the fine old-time directors of athletics. There goes a good run by the LSU Tigers, and that is number 33 for the LSU Tigers, Eddie Fuller. The ball is going to be spotted close to being a first down, but do we have a penalty on the play? We do. The play will be nullified. Anyway, Joel Eves, who was a basketball coach down at Auburn, named director of, and there's Coach Arnsparger of LSU right there. And Dick Burleson will come to the side and make the signal. It's illegal procedure. Anyway, Coach Eves hired Vince Dooley, and Dooley has been a highly successful coach ever since. Second down from the 43. Now the original 10 to go after the penalty. Hodson back to put it in the air. Here it goes. Kitchen. Not a first down. They stack him up at about the Georgia 48-yard line. John Little, John Brand Brantley and others on the tackle, and number 60, Terry Webster, who's done very well since entering the game, is on the contact.
Got Brian Kitchen lined up on the left side. He's going to cross over, and LSU's been successful with him. He goes in front of the linebacker and then splits the linebackers. He sets up right there, makes the catch, goes forward. But watch the pursuit by Georgia's defense. That's one of the trademarks of a Georgia defense, very similar to past LSU defenses. That is, they all flock to the ball. Go ahead and make that receiver pay for the catch.
Third down, about 1.5 yards to go for a first down. Hodson will go to the air with it. Has a lot of time. Out here, it's complete. That's Halliburton, his first catch of his collegiate career, out of bounds at the Bulldog 40-yard line, 9 yards down the field. Ordinarily, he comes in as a messenger and a blocker in a two tight end setup, but this time he's a receiver. First down and 10 to go for LSU at the Bulldog 40.
LSU flooded that side of the field. They had the wide man go downfield. They ran someone down on the intermediate area and Halliburton into the short flat. As you can see behind there, there's Harvey Williams, who had cleared out the short area. Halliburton with a nice catch for the first down.
From Port Arthur, Texas. First down at 10. Here's that reverse play, and a flea flicker off that to Hodson. Long pass down to McGee. Up he goes. Incomplete at the 5-yard line. Coverage by Gary Moss, but a flag is thrown on the play. How about that?
You like that kind of play, don't you?
I love it.
I do, too. And it took so long to develop in the backfield. I don't know if Raji McGee came out of his fake too early, because he was wide open for 3 or 4 seconds before the ball was ever thrown.
An eligible receiver downfield will nullify and cost the Tigers, but I'll say, as they say in the old song, play it again, Sam. That's the way to do it. A reverse and a flea flicker off the reverse. But a penalty. And you have to play by those rules. The penalty back to the Georgia 45-yard line. There's the signal for illegal receiver downfield, ineligible receiver.
Maybe Ralph Norwood decided he wanted to catch that.
Maybe so. But no loss of down, as in the case of an illegal forward pass. Spread backfield. Hodson sets up a double slot. Here is Davis. Great catch again. Down at the 14-yard line and out of bounds. First down and 10 to go as Davis is tearing up the Bulldogs.
Got Georgia lined up, trying to trick Tommy Hodson into changing a play. Hodson had a streak pattern to Davis, and Davis just beat the cornerback, that's all. Because the cornerback had come out and lined head up on him after the play was changed at the line of scrimmage. Davis with a fine move and then a great concentration catch.
First down, 10 yards to go. The Tigers at the Georgia 14-yard line. LSU leads 3-0. Here goes Harvey Williams. Here he goes inside the 10, and he's down after a great run down to about the 7-yard line. Mike Brown and John Little of the secondary for Georgia had all they could handle with that young fellow from Hempstead, Texas.
And here's Harvey Williams with another fine play. You see basically straight blocking and a good lead block by the fullback, but Williams finds the opening. He almost is able to get past the defensive secondary. As it is, he falls forward for about a 7-yard gain, but LSU is controlling that line and moving the ball, and all the time keeping it away from Georgia's offense. The Georgia offense has been on the field very little time, and here we're at the end of the first quarter.
That's the end of the first quarter here at Tiger Stadium. What a game! The LSU Tigers lead the Georgia Bulldogs 3-0. Quarter number 2 coming up in a moment.
Put creamy, delicious taste back into your low-calorie diet with nourishing Klein-Peter Cottage Cheese.
Klein-Peter Delight.
Klein-Peter Cottage Cheese is available in 4 delightful varieties: regular, dry, low-fat, and Creole cream cheese.
Klein-Peter Delight.
Whether you're on a low-calorie diet or just trying to keep fit and trim, Klein-Peter Cottage Cheese gives you all the delicious, satisfying taste you expect from Klein-Peter Farms Dairy.
A taste you remember.
Amazing LSU Tiger Tales, only $39.95, and that's a tape that you can get by calling 1-800-626-4444. It has plays of all kinds and outstanding players, and it's an exciting review of LSU football beginning back in 1958. We think you'll enjoy it as a true LSU Tiger fan. And here's the address, the LSU Athletic Department, and the box number, and available at the LSU merchandise store run by Pat O'Toole at Gate 5 here in Tiger Stadium. Now the Tigers go the other way, and the people in the south stands are ecstatic as LSU has 2nd and 3 at the Georgia 7-yard line. This drive started back at the Tiger 18. That's McGee in motion, and that's Harvey Williams. He'll go. He's almost there, out of bounds at the 2, chased off the field by Steve Boswell, number 29, and number 44 also there. So it's a good run by Harvey Williams.
And you see why coaches look for speed. Harvey Williams couldn't find anything there at the hole, so he stepped it outside. He made a good stiff arm, and he was almost able to keep in bounds long enough to get into the end zone. He was knocked out of bounds there, but a fine run, and Harvey Williams continues to improve and impress, I think, everyone who watches it.
Boswell saved the 6 points for Georgia, number 44. Here goes Williams, hurdling in the air, shy of a touchdown, just a few inches, as Wycliffe Lovelace makes the tackle. And I think Williams is trying to make a trademark out of that hurtling through the air. Not a bad idea. Has a little vanity about him, just a shade.
Well, you know, when you're a great player the way he is, I guess it's difficult not to have some vanity.
When you got it, flaunt it.
That's right. It ain't bragging if you can do it.
That's right.
But he does have to do it.
John Baptiste, the up back, and Harvey Williams, the eye dotter. Wendell Davis in motion. That's Williams. Doesn't make it. Somebody's on to his tricks. That was a 2nd down play. John Brantley stopped Harvey Williams here.
Well, John, you can't rely upon jumping over the entire defense. First, you need some blocking by your offensive line, and then that Georgia defense is very well coached and well schooled. They know what's coming, and you know, you mentioned that it's becoming a trademark of his. They know that, and so they're going to be prepared. John Brantley that time went up in the air and met him, and John Brantley's bigger than Harvey Williams, and that's the way it's going to be.
3rd and inches to go to the goal line. Here's Williams trying it again. He's got it. It's 9-0 Tigers. That's an 82-yard drive. The highlight play was a 30-yard touchdown reception by Wendell Davis. Here's the scoring play by Harvey Williams.
And Williams with a great spring in his legs. And you see there he got past the goal line and then was knocked back behind the goal line. But after the spot where the tape ended there, he held the ball out again. The official ruled that it was a touchdown, which it clearly was, and LSU with a 9-0 lead.
Ronnie Lewis kicks the point after, and it is good. 13:44 to go in the half. The score now is the Tigers 10, the Bulldogs nothing. We'll be right back.
Today, there is a company in Louisiana that sets the pace for every other company in its field. A company over 1 million Louisianians and thousands of businesses look to when they need help. A forward-moving company with health care plans that protect people from the worst by giving the best. This is Blue Cross of Louisiana, the leader in health care protection for over 50 years. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Louisiana. You can depend on it.
That hurling through the air was made famous earlier in LSU football history by none other than Jimmy Taylor. The Tiger Gift Center, we mentioned that a few moments ago, is located at Gate 5 here at Tiger Stadium. To order the gift catalog, write the Gift Center, LSU Department of Athletics, Post Office Box 93008. At Gate 5, Tiger Stadium. The Tiger Gift Center, where you can find all kinds of interesting items pertaining to the LSU Tigers. There's Matt DeFrank, number 3, kicking off from the Tiger 35. Henderson at the 6. 21. Jamie Bice makes the tackle. 82 yards on that drive, Doug. 12 plays, about the maximum without a mistake. And Williams scored on just an inches long run.
And again, they held the ball for almost 6 minutes, and that's what LSU has done in this ball game that they've been unable to do. Even against Texas A&M, their scores came on explosive type plays, and what any coach would like to do is to control the football offensively, take up time, because you deprive the other team of the opportunity to score, and you end up with points up there on the scoreboard.
From the 22, Carl Wilson makes this tackle. And that's Lars Tate, who's going nowhere except in the wrong direction.
John, you know that Bill Arnsparger is proud of this defense. He's mentioned several times that people have to step up and take the place of Michael Brooks. Carl Wilson is a lineman who has the ability to do that. Michael Brooks, I guess, has overshadowed just about every other individual on that defense. But tonight, all of them are stepping up individually and stepping into his shoes.
Fake handoff and a pass completes to Henderson. The first down for Georgia. Tough lick by Guidry. 19 yards on that pass reception and run. And it's a first down for the Bulldogs. They spot the ball at the 39-yard line. 10-0, the Tigers over the Bulldogs. It's pretty warm up here at the press box tonight, but not nearly as hot as last week. And I want to tell you an interesting thing or two about that hot game in Gainesville, Florida 1 week ago. Look how widely set the LSU defensive line is there. There's Tate again. They're lying in the gap for him. The play was turned in by Greg Jackson, and Ron Sancho makes the tackle. Last week down at Gainesville, when the floor of the stadium boasted a temperature of 120 degrees, the Tigers football team consumed 2,200 pounds of ice during the game, drank 375 gallons of fluids, went through 3,500 paper cups, and had 11 intravenous injections. Some of the cost of playing college football. Second down from the 38, a flag, maybe too much time. Mr. Burleson says illegal procedure. Well, once you get set, you can't be moving around.
Sure can.
LSU 10-3-1 in games played on October the 11th. Got a ball, Charlie. Second down from the 33-yard line after the penalty. Next week, the Tigers play at Kentucky. And the Wildcats were humbled today by Ole Miss, 33-13 in a surprise. Second down. That's Lars Tate. His best run of the game. Norman Jefferson and Chris Carrier on the tackle for LSU. They say at the 42-yard line. Lars Tate took the place of Tim Worley, star running back for Georgia. Worley had a knee problem and was replaced by this man who just loves to get the ball.
And he's a good runner, too. He was the starter before Worley. Tate is a very capable player. Worley just happened to be a great player that beat him out.
Possession down, 3rd and 7 to play here. James Jackson, badly overthrown. Of course, Jackson was being harassed behind the line by Carl Wilson, number 72, and it was a great series for Big Carl from Baker. Coach Arnsparger tickled with the defense, no doubt. And so the Bulldogs will have to punt.
And Toby Caston's coming off the field on about the 40-yard line, leading cheers from the student section, and they responded.
Way back for the LSU Tigers. Alvin Lee, freshman from Beaumont, Texas. Carpenter kicks. Not all that long again for him. Lee has recovered. 38 yards and 2 yards on a fumbling return. Lee was thinking about running before he had the football. There's that big Tiger bunch on the first unit. LSU is not what you would call a mammoth team, but the Tigers are surely big enough. Vince Dooley in his 23rd year has won that many games, 178. LSU LSU at the Tigers 23, 1st and 10. There goes Martin. First down, right up the middle. Tyrone McClendon in on the tackle.
John, when LSU comes up in that formation, they force Georgia's defense to spread, and you see the big opening in the middle of that defense. You have to block it. Now, they're not going to leave. They're going to stay in those positions, but the Tiger offense in the middle, Albert Gammo and Melanson are doing a heck of a job opening up big enough holes for Martin and Williams to run through.
The game is a little over 12 yards. Here goes Martin again. They go back to the well, and Andy Dotson gets Martin on the way through the gap. And Sammy has a knee on the ground at the 42-yard line. 2nd and 4 after a 6-yard burst by Sammy Martin. Eric Martin? No relation. 2nd down, 4. Mickey Guidry is now the Tiger quarterback. Rifles one out here, intended for McGee, too wide for him. 3rd down and 4 coming up. McGee really drew a crowd there, Doug.
Well, that defense, it's similar to what Kentucky plays. We're going to see it 2 weeks in a row. Is disguised a great deal. That's the difficult thing about both the coverage and the blocking against the run. They disguise a great deal what they're going to do to you. And oftentimes, you either have a receiver wide open or he's going to be covered by 2 people.
There's a slot formation to the right. McGee's the slot man, and Wendell Davis, who hadn't missed a pass in this game, is the wide man to the right. Guidry again, being chased. Incomplete. Going for the ball is Mike Brown, number 49. No interference. 4th down. DeFrank comes in to punt. Now, he is the leading punter, average-wise, in the country. And last week, though he had one very bad kick, he ended up with 71 yards on it. That propelled him to the top of the punting list in the country. He has a great leg. I mean, by a poor kick, he kicked it about 29 yards and got a 41-yard roll. It would have to be 42, wouldn't it, Doug? 4th down. The Tigers are at their 42 and punting. Carrier is the snapper back. Not a good kick. Let's see what the bounce is for him. No. The Tigers touched it around the 31 or 2. DeFrank did not get all of it. It's good for 27 yards. And that will puncture his pride, if not his average. The Tigers lead Georgia 10-0, and we go the other way. The Bulldogs have the football, 1st and 10 at their 31. Coach Arnsparger said about Georgia's offense, an I formation team. They line up and play power football. Here comes the Georgia power. That carry by McCluskey is up to about the 37. He's tripped up by Toby Caston. I notice Darren Marlborough is in the game at linebacker, number 90. There's the big Georgia team. Particularly large at tackle, Wilbur Stroger, 6'5", 262 pounds. The Georgia offense ranks 17th in the country, 422.5 yards. 2nd down, about 4. Jackson to throw. Out here to the left, that's Henderson. 1st down. He's a good runner. Just shy at midfield. The Tigers stack him up there. About 11 yards. Caston and Tommy Klepp collaborate on that stop for LSU. They're going to place the ball at the 49.
That's a well-executed screen. Jackson did not hold the ball that long, but they got so many blockers downfield. Look at the group of offensive linemen down there, and Henderson just stayed behind them and let them knock down the LSU defenders to get almost up to midfield.
Cartersville, Georgia is his hometown. Dukes is in motion. That's Henderson over the right side. And let's go to an injury report on Norma Jefferson from Jordy Holtberg. Jordy?
John and Doug, Norman Jefferson has been out for the last couple of plays. He's sustained a bruise on his left inside knee. It's very sensitive to the touch. He's got it iced down right now. Kevin Guidry's taking his place.
What knee is the left inside knee, Jordy? 2nd down and 4 from the LSU 45. There's a little pitch, and Henderson has the ball short of a first down. Good tackle by Kevin Guidry.
Hope Norman's okay, but he couldn't have done much better than that. Guidry came up with a big play. LSU 10th in the nation in rushing defense, and that's really been the reason for their success this season. Now, the other side of the coin is that they've been hurt by the long pass play. Georgia has not been able to take advantage of that because the LSU pass rush, I think, has been more effective tonight than it has at any time earlier this season.
Georgia, 3rd and 1. The Tigers bunch up defensively. Point of the down, the Tiger 42. First down, not by a lot, but enough. Now that is a power play right up the middle that Georgia probably has a patent on. They have that tailback set very deeply, and he has plenty of time to run and get up a full head of speed before he can come on down the field. And so it is first down at the LSU 39 for Georgia. Coach Dooley does not wear the headset, as you see. By contrast, on the other side, Coach Arnsparger does wear the headset. It's a constant touch with people on the field. Jackson to Lane. Steps out of bounds in front of Pearson. And that's an 8-yard advance. 2nd and 2. Georgia throwing on first down.
And Jackson with a fine arm. He throws the ball very hard. Coach Dooley said he's just a little bitty boy. Well, he's not that little bitty, though. He is small, but he is so quick and has a very strong and a very accurate arm. Has the ability to be a great quarterback, and they have so much confidence in him that they have expanded their offense greatly because of his talent.
That is Fred Lane in motion, and here's Jackson running to the left to throw. Way down there, look out in the end zone. Touchdown, Georgia. A diving catch, a 31-yard play, and it is going to be Lane or David McCluskey.
John, you see, McCluskey was the fullback now. He was lined up directly behind the quarterback. He snuck out of the backfield all the way down the backside, and it was a rollout. He made a great diving catch. LSU paid no attention to him. You see, here's the roll to the left. Now, Jackson is looking left all the way, and it turns and looks back the other way. The wide receiver on the right side has gone down and taken the safety towards the inside. McCluskey was there by himself on the sideline, stretched out for really an excellent catch, and a big, big play for the Bulldogs.
Steve Chumley kicks his 12th point after of the year, and the game is tighter. 7 minutes, that is, at 15 seconds to go in the first half. And the score is now Tigers 10, Bulldogs 7.
You are about to see an expert panic stop a Peugeot STI the hard way. This Peugeot has just stopped from an indicated 55 miles an hour in less than 120 feet while turning. Peugeot has little tolerance for unsafe cars.
Only at Classic Car Imports, 15600 Florida Boulevard.
I played defensive end and was named All-Southeastern Conference for 2 consecutive seasons in the mid-'60s. I also earned All-America honors for anchoring the Tiger defensive line in 1967 as LSU compiled a 7-3-1 record en route to a Sugar Bowl win over Wyoming. I had a stellar 9-year professional career with the Cleveland Browns. Who am I? I am John Garlington.
7 minutes, 15 seconds remaining here in the second quarter. LSU 10, Georgia 7. This is Doug Morrow along with John Ferguson and Jordy Hultberg bringing you the action from Tiger Stadium. It's really turned into an exciting football game. Georgia turned a 10-point deficit into a close 3-point game with one big play.
And the Tigers' pass defense, which has been tested sorely in the early season, gets another big one as Salisbury returns to the 24-yard line. Down he goes. 7 plays and 68 yards. The payoffer, a 31-yard touchdown pass from James Jackson to McCluskey. Not much time left, and it's a closer game. 7:08 to play in the first half. LSU has the football. 1st and 10 at the Tiger 24. It's something to get exciting about. Here are the Tigers now with Harris the up back, and Harvey Williams picks up 1 yard. Wausau was trying to block for him, so was Andelsek, but Henry Harris, who's now in the game at what amounts to middle guard of the Georgia defense, was in there to foil any attempt the Tigers might have had to go upfield. It's 2nd down and 9. Henry Harris weighs 265, is a Georgia senior. Been out for a couple of weeks because of an ankle problem.
Well, he was the one who earlier this week, Coach Dooley said he didn't know if he could even walk and didn't know, certainly wasn't going to make the trip over here. It's amazing the recovery that he's made.
Al Bergamo's blocking him on this play, and here's a pass up the field, complete. And Davis gets it for a 1st down, 15 yards up the field, and John Little tackles him. But still, Wendell Davis hasn't missed a ball thrown in his territory in this game.
And John, let's take a look at Wendell Davis, and you'll see him do something that the best receivers do. One thing, he comes off the ball hard, makes his cut, and then he runs back to the football. That makes a separation between he and the defensive back, and it makes him more wide open so he doesn't have to receive contact right when the ball gets to him.
And he ran to the ground, too, when he saw he was going to be hit hard. Hodson to throw. Overthrows McGee on purpose. 2nd down and 10. The pressure in the backfield by Steve Boswell, number 44. There's the defensive team for the Tigers, having a good go at the conversation and a little respite from the game. 2nd down, 10. That near sideline is air-conditioned for LSU. So is the visiting team here at Tiger Stadium. Visiting team enjoys air conditioning, and here's Harvey Williams trying to crawl through nothing. Picks up a yard. Boswell stacks it up again. .550 to play in the first half. It's 10-7, Tigers over the Georgia Bulldogs, and what a game. 3rd down, 9 to go about at the Tiger 41-yard line. LSU has a 3-point lead. Moving around, Harvey Williams. Hodson retreating and firing. Davis almost got that one, but they were hanging all over him. Incomplete. He finally missed one. Will Jones, number 29, went up with Davis, and he just couldn't get more than a finger on the ball. That's his first miss of the game.
Well, I don't know if you'd call that a miss. I thought it was amazing that he got as much of the ball as he did. He got sandwiched right when the ball got to him. Harvey Williams made a great block in the backfield just to give Hodson the opportunity to get the pass off, but I guess Hodson was trying to find out how much courage Wendell Davis had, and he found out he has a lot, but not that much.
DeFrank will kick. And Fred Lane is standing at the Georgia 15. Boomer! And a fair catch at the 7-yard line. We'll tally that one at 53 yards for Matt DeFrank, and he got all of it.
John, let's take a look now at that last pass. Harvey Williams here is going to make a good block to give Hodson the opportunity to throw it, but watch the safety coming from the other side. Davis had the ball in his hands, but he saw Boswell, who was the linebacker, backed up on one side. The safety was coming in from behind him and knocked his legs out from underneath him, and he just couldn't hang on to it. Would have been miraculous had he.
First down, the Bulldogs at their 7. A fast-moving game. 5:06 to play in the first half. The Tigers lead, and a draw play is called by Georgia. Here comes Keith Henderson. First down at about the 20. Rehards and Kevin Guidry. Georgia had 69 yards total offense on its last possession.
And, John, we're starting to see this Georgia offense exert themselves. 17th ranked nationally. Here you see Henderson. He was a tailback, and they moved into a fullback, and now back to tailback. But you can see that he looks, he watches, he finds his spot, and that Georgia offensive line is doing a fine job of keeping on their blocks for a long time.
to the 25-yard line. Georgia goes. Greg Jackson makes the tackle. Tulane is playing tonight. Tulane comes up on the Tiger schedule behind Florida State, and if we could see that one again, 14-6. Today, Army beat Tennessee 25-21 on a block punt right at the end of the game. But the Tulane score was Florida State 14, Tulane 6. Second down and about 4. Jackson reversing field. Hits Henderson for a first down at the 36-yard line, and that's where he goes out of bounds. First down and 10, Georgia.
This is called a rollback pass. Now watch the fake. He's going to come here, and then he rolls back to the other side. The first back in the lineup has gone through the line, and as the linebackers respect that running fake to the opposite side, invariably they end up getting behind the receiver. Henderson was wide open there for the reception.
That Florida State's lead of 8 points over Tulane is at the half. We have 4:10 to play in the first half here, and there's Henderson breaking a tackle behind the line, attempted by Barbe, but he's finally polished off by Ron Sancho. On a first down run, he stopped at the 38-yard line. So far, up to the beginning of this drive, we've just tallied that Georgia's offense amounts to 130 yards and LSU 190 yards. It's 10-7. The LSU leads the Georgia Bulldog team, and the Bulldogs are probing the areas of weakness in the Tigers, trying to get upfield as Jackson goes to the air. Open. Back the other way is Kirk Warner, number 83 at tight end. He has a first down at the 49 of Georgia. The clock stopped at 3:36 to play in the half. Pearson chased him off the field, but Warner had the football, his 6th catch of the year.
And John, this is a completely different Georgia pass offense than we've seen in a long time. Warner was lined up at tight end on the left side. He snuck across the field. Now Georgia's sending out all of their receivers in the pass pattern, and LSU is getting lost in the coverage, and one of the receivers is coming open on every play.
Tigers have been giving up 230 yards a game through the air. Well, Henderson couldn't get his footing right up the middle. Seems to be a pattern developing in the Georgia offensive philosophy here as Caston and Wilson stop this runner. Georgia's running up the middle and then throwing for 2 downs and either getting a first down or having to punt. That gain was for 4 yards, a second down, and a long 6 to go. In motion is David Dukes, number 10. Here comes Tate with the ball. Back to the line of scrimmage, and that's all. The Tigers have that one. Defense led by Greg Jackson, number 35. Darren Marlborough, number 90. And Ron Sancho, who would not leave home on the defensive play.
That type of play, though, is something that even if Georgia doesn't gain any yardage, they're setting up the passing game by doing that. They've been successful the last 2 series in running the football and very successful throwing it. LSU's defense in the secondary is coming up so fast to stop that run. Georgia's using that to their own advantage in the passing game.
Here's the reverse play. The Tigers have it figured. Good play by Tommy Clapp. Way behind the line. Fred Lane is stopped at the Georgia 46-yard line. Let's look at that one again. That's a sterling defensive play for the Tigers.
And this is the type of play. Remember, earlier in the ball game, a mistake was made by Sancho. Look at Ron Sancho. He didn't make the same mistake again. He and Tommy Clapp both stayed home and made the play.
1:56 to play in the half, and a timeout is called on the field.
Ticket orders are now being accepted for the 1986 Coca-Cola NIT Classic basketball tournament. LSU will host Texas Christian University in a first-round game on November 21st in the LSU Assembly Center. It'll be the season opener for LSU, which advanced to the Final Four last year. Tickets are $11 each and may be ordered in person or by mail from the LSU Athletic Ticket Office. The ticket office is open weekdays from 8:15 a.m. to 4:15 p.m. Mail orders should be sent to LSU Ticket Office, Post Office Drawer AS, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, 70894. And Coach Dale Brown's going to have another exciting basketball team. He really took a team that wasn't supposed to go anywhere last year to the Final Four and almost pulled a big upset in that first ball game. You'll enjoy watching Dale Brown's Tigers.
Should be another exciting season in the round ball sport here at LSU. 4th down and 13. The Bulldogs at their 46, and Alvin Lee is the deep receiver for LSU inside the 15. LSU, a moderate rush and a high kick, but again, Rehaj, the up back on the other side, makes the reception at the 18-yard line, and it's not a long kick for the talented kicker from Georgia, who is Chris Carpenter. He's suffering a little bit on his average, isn't he? We have a flag down back at the point of the down. So, with the clock showing 1:48, holding is indicated against LSU. Now they spot that one down at the 18-yard line, and LSU will be penalized from there. Because I think when the holding occurred, the ball was in the air. Now what does LSU do? Down deep in its own territory, ahead by 3 points. I have a secret quarterback coach who says all the time, rear back and throw it. Let's see if the Tigers do. Mr. Burleson said holding, first down, and the penalty carries back to the 9-yard line.
You can rear back and throw it, but there are 1:48 seconds left. Georgia has 3 timeouts left, and the last thing you want to do is create an opportunity for them.
1st and 10. Will the Tigers play it conservatively here? No, they're going to throw it. There's Kitchen with the ball. Fumble. Georgia has the ball at the 17. Kitchen had the ball knocked from his grasp, and let's see who gets it for the Bulldogs. Number 95, who is going to be Bill Goldberg, the starting nose guard, pounces on Kitchen's fumble at the Tiger 17. And now the Bulldogs have a chance with 1:40 to play in the half to tie the game or to go ahead.
And remember,
what a game this is.
And remember, early in the ball game, Brian Kitchen with the fumble ball that was recovered by LSU for a first down, but that play ended up being a disaster for the Tigers.
Slot to the left. Jackson is rolling to this side to throw. He's going to be chased, and he's out of bounds at about the line of scrimmage. What a rush was put on by Carl Wilson, number 72. Eric Hill and Toby Caston came in for their share of the pressure, but it was Wilson who turned the play. 2nd down. He gained a yard. 9 to go at the LSU 16-yard line. There's the clock showing 1:32 to play in the half. The Tigers lead precariously 10-7, and the game is heating up. Osborne is flanked to the right. There goes the running back McCluskey, who scored early on a pass reception. He's up to 7. May have a first down. Sancho makes the tackle for the Tigers. That's that cut back off an apparent sweep or an off-tackle play.
And Georgia's blocking this as they would the off-tackle or the sweep play to the right. And LSU, of course, is pursuing to go stop that play. It's opening up a large seam in the interior of that LSU defensive line, and Georgia has exploited that throughout this first half.
Not a first down. 3rd down, about a half yard to go for a first down. Just outside the Tiger 7. Georgia with the ball. 3rd down. Big play here. That's Henderson in motion. Here is Tate. First down at the 6. Didn't get a lot, but he got enough there. The clock will stop at 43 seconds to go in the half. And Georgia calls timeout. Well, the Georgia team is trying to make the most of a Tiger bobble and a recovery at the LSU 17. Now, although the regular season is a few months away, the Department of Athletics here at LSU is offering LSU baseball fans an opportunity to get into the swing early by ordering season tickets in advance at a special price. For only $45, a family of 4 can see all 32 home games, a value of over $200 for just $45. General admission season tickets are $25 for adults and $20 for youths. The gold seats located behind home plate can be reserved for $125 per seat. A new option open to Tiger fans is the Pick a Seat plan that allows patrons to pick and reserve a seat of their choice for the entire season at a cost of just $60. To get your application, stop by or call the LSU Athletic Ticket Office. The telephone number is 388-2184. Skip Bertman expects to have another exciting team.
And he certainly will. And all of the young baseball players around the state of Louisiana have taken notice of that program, too, John. There are quite a few who are football athletes, but also fine baseball players who feel that they will sign with the Tigers simply because they have both football and baseball programs.
About 5.5 yards to go. First down. Here is Jackson still with the ball. Throws to the end zone. Complete to Sadowski for a touchdown. But we have a flag on the play. Is there an ineligible receiver downfield? The touchdown is going to be called back. And Dick Burleson is going to give us the signal right now as the officials want to talk it over. They decide it is an ineligible receiver downfield that nullifies the play and will bring up a 5-yard penalty.
And this is a well-run play by Jackson. But watch this now. He makes the running fake, and it's a very good fake. He comes out to the left side, but the offensive line had people downfield because they were carrying out the running fake also. So it was well executed except for one big mistake, but that's the critical mistake. Can't have those linemen go downfield. The official picked it up, threw the flag, and it cost Georgia the touchdown.
5-yard penalty. Now first down and goal to go from just outside the LSU 10. The Tigers lead by 3. And here is Jackson to the right side. Wants to throw. He's going to have to run. He's open to the 5. He's going to score to the side. Jackson scores. Fumbles after the fact. And Georgia bullets out in front. There's no substitute for speed.
None whatsoever, and you see there why Vince Dooley feels that this youngster is a great football player. He is being pursued by Ron Sancho, who came just a whisker away from tackling him. Look at Sancho, almost got him, but was not able to get his arms around him, but Jackson's quickness and speed allows him to get across the goal line. The ball is knocked out of his arms by Chris Carrier, but he was already in the end zone. Touchdown. Georgia in the lead, 13-10.
Another one of those great field goal and extra point kickers is out there for Georgia. Steve Crumley. His point after is good. And with 28 seconds to go in the first half, the score is Georgia 14, LSU 10. And now, with two teams on the field who really appear to want to play, we have a real ball game. It's some college football game here in progress.
It's an exciting game, and it's been like two games in one. LSU has total control of the game for about the first 18 or so minutes, and then Georgia took over, and the Tigers just were not able to convert their opportunities into 2 touchdowns. They got a field goal and a touchdown. Georgia came up with fine execution and got their 2 touchdowns, and really, if you had to pick a winner based upon the way the game's going right now, you've got to go with Georgia.
As Yogi Berra said, it ain't over till it's over.
Right.
And we have a lot to go yet. 28 seconds plus a half hour. 20-minute halftime coming up with the great Tiger Band and some special features here on Tiger Vision from LSU's Tiger Stadium. As Georgia has decided what to do, the Bulldogs and the Tigers on both sides of the line of scrimmage have their hands full in this Southeastern Conference engagement.
And, John, I wouldn't be surprised to see Vince Dooley's team try an onside kick right here. 28 seconds left. They don't want to give LSU great field position, but Georgia's the type of team that will pull trick plays on you, and this is a pretty good chance to pull one.
That's Hester, number 1, to kick off. Maybe a special circumstance kicker. There's a squib kick. Doesn't squib. Taken at the 25. And run back out to about the 41-yard line. The LSU Tigers have the football at their 41-yard line.
16 yards, 4 plays for the touchdown. James Jackson's on the 10-yard run, and remember, that was set up by the fumble after LSU had taken over deep in their territory, completed a pass on the first down, and Brian Kinchin had fumbled the ball with Georgia recovering on the 16.
The officials say hold it just a second. Officials timeout, or has Georgia called timeout? 14-10, the Bulldogs lead the LSU Tigers. It was an officials timeout, and we have to play 25 seconds from right now. There the Tigers are down by 4. Hudson sends the fleet Wendell Davis to the left, and beyond him, Raji McGee. Threw it behind Wendell Davis, who was open. Incomplete. 17 seconds to go in the half. Wendell Davis has been as hot as a firecracker in this game. 5 for 78 yards. 5 catches in this game.
And the more they throw him the ball, the better he becomes. He's becoming more comfortable with a variety of routes. He's displayed that he can catch the ball just about in any situation, but he's getting open much more frequently than he has in the past.
2nd and 10 from the Tiger 40. Hudson back to cock his right arm. There it goes. Incomplete. In fact, almost intercepted about 14 yards down the field by Mike Brown. 3rd down, 10. 10 seconds to play in the half. By the way, an interesting observation here. After 3 games, 8 LSU players have scored touchdowns for the Tigers, while 9 players have intercepted passes. 11 Tigers have carried the pigskin, while LSU quarterbacks have thrown to 8 different receivers. So they call it the land of opportunity here at LSU. 3rd down and 10 from the 40. Hudson again to put it in the air. Here's a long one going. Hail Mary type pass intercepted and run back by Gary Moss. He fumbles, and time has run out in the half on a rather difficult note for the Tigers. But Hudson was trying to get it down there and hope for the best. But the halftime is now in vogue. We played 30 minutes. We have 30 minutes to go. And the Georgia Bulldogs have fought from behind and have the lead over the LSU Tigers 14-10. And we're set for a lot of exciting football for the rest of the night. Well, John Sparger making to the dressing room, and we'll be back here at Tiger Stadium in just a moment.
Jules Madere presents One Woman's Story.
My husband really loves me. Every football season he buys me diamonds, so I won't feel left out. My husband insists on quality in everything. That's why he chose me. And that's why my diamonds are from Jules Madere. Price appreciation can't compare with my appreciation. I just love football season. It makes us both happy, and I never lose.
Jules Madere Creative Jewelers, now in a new location in Bocage Village.
Halftime score, Georgia 14, LSU 10. There's a big event coming in the spring to LSU, one of national recognition. The NCAA Outdoor Track and Field Championships will be right here on the old Bernie Moore track. I had a chance to talk to Sam Seams, the assistant coach of the LSU track team, who is really the whole meet coordinator. When we go, let's go talk to Sam Seams about this big event coming to Tiger Town. Not too long ago, Sam, you all had quite an honor that's bestowed on this university. You're going to host the NCAA Outdoor Track and Field Meet. What does that mean to you personally?
It means a lot of time away from home and probably having our secretarial staff and a few other people not too friendly for me for about a year.
You kind of wear 2 hats. Not only are you an assistant track coach, but you're the guy that's responsible for making everything coordinate, click, and run smoothly. That means a lot of people coming over here, a lot of time spent away, a lot of meetings. What is involved in making something like this work?
Well, we'll involve, of course, our whole athletic department, certain other departments within the university, probably around 250 people within the community do volunteer work as far as officiating, and other auxiliary jobs with the meet. And, of course, there'll be a lot of activity out in the city of Baton Rouge for a week.
Now, the LSU track program itself has made great strides. You're all now, from the also-rans to competing for the Southeastern Conference and the National Championship for many years to come. With that comes some new additions to the track. Why don't you talk about that to us?
Well, last week we had the bid finally awarded after about 2 years of, basically we're doing $995,000 worth of work out there. And it'll be completely different from the way it is now. And we believe that it'll be the #1 competition facility in the entire world. There are some innovations out there which no other place has at this time, and I think it'll set a trend for some things that might happen in track and field in the future as far as design is concerned.
Seating capacity-wise, to get a bid like this from the NCAA, how many people did you have to be able to seat in the arena?
We went in and our bid was based on quality rather than quantity. And we're going to have 5,200 seats to sell. Every seat is a reserved seat. You have to buy a 4-day ticket. They're $20 for a 4-day reserved seat ticket, and when they go, they're gone.
And this isn't really something that's new, because a few years back, you also hosted the NCAAs, if I'm correct, so you've got some valued experience with handling that and to now. So what have you learned through the years? What does it really take to make something run smoothly? You have to be a great delegator of authority?
Well, you have to delegate authority, but at the same time, you live in fear of making a mistake, and I think you do that so much that you really prepare yourself quite well. And we've got a lot of good people who help us out. And the LSU Track and Field Officials Association, which is a group of professional men and women in town that come out and volunteer for all our meets, basically without them we wouldn't be able to run the meet. And because of groups like this and some other people, I really don't worry about it too much anymore. I worry more about getting that track finished before June the 3rd.
Seoul, Korea, 88's not far away. We ought to be able to see a lot of future Olympians come here in June.
That's right. Of course, this is the top of the line of collegiate track and field. Some people may remember in 1981, Herschel Walker was here. Carl Lewis, who went on to win 4 gold medals in L.A. in 84, was here. You go all the way back to 73 when the meet was here. Maurice Peoples went on in 76 and won a gold medal at the 400 meters and still ran what was the fastest relay sprint ever at sea level here in 73. So there's been great people in the past, and I'm sure there's going to be great people in the future. Plus, we have the addition of, this is the first time in Baton Rouge that we've had a men and women's national championship meet.
Well, there's the guy, Sam Seams. If his shoulders start to droop a little bit, that means all the pressure's on him, but he'll do a great job. June the 3rd through the 6th?
June 3rd through 6th. Tickets went on sale August 18th, and several have already been sold. Sam Seams, LSU track assistant coach. Great event coming out here to the LSU track and field complex. A new facility. Come out and see it. You won't see it again in a long time. Thank you.
A truly great event that will be coming to Baton Rouge. It's 14-10. We're at halftime. When we come back, we'll have a chance for you to listen to the Golden Band from Tigerland and much, much more, so stay with us.
Today's game is brought to you by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Louisiana. You can depend on it. And La Tigre, makers of fine sportswear.
All the exciting moments of the LSU Fighting Tigers on video with the amazing LSU Tiger Tales. From the National Championship of '58 to the Dalton James Gang of '85. The greatest games, greatest players, record plays, and more for just $39.95 and $4 shipping and handling. If you love the Tigers, you'll love the amazing LSU Tiger Tales. Call toll-free 1-800-626-4444 and order yours today. 1-800-626-4444 and get the Tigers by the tails.
LSU has a personal touch that a lot of other places don't seem to have.
It's not so much the classes as it is the college atmosphere. I've made a lot of friends.
A university changes your life. You find out what's important to you, and I feel
we learn from each other, and it's this constant sharing of ideas.
I'm the type of person that loves a challenge. That's why I like LSU, because you get the opportunity.
LSU is very special to me.
Both my father and grandfather came here, so there's...
We're on the forefront of some of the most exciting research projects in the country. We have over...
LSU is one of the few institutions in the world doing gravitational wave research. What we're trying to do...
We were first in the United States to successfully use the embryo splitting method.
I know what we do at LSU makes a difference in people's lives.
Quality speaks for itself. LSU, a great university.
The national attention is focused on the drug scene in the United States and around the world. Drugs and athletics simply do not mix. Bill Arnsparger has a way to say no to drugs.
I place a lot of confidence in this young man to make the right decisions on the field and off the field.
Thanks, Coach. One of the best decisions I've made is to say no to drugs. I get my kicks from football. If you're not into sports, get into some other activities, but not into drugs.
On behalf of the football team and the coaching staff, I urge you to say no to drugs.
Here is the Golden Band from Tigerland for your listening entertainment. On the All-American Michael Brooks, who's been injured, so stay with us. You'll want to see it.
Select Event Video Magazine takes you behind the scenes of Hollywood, interviewing your favorite stars and previewing select event movies. Select Event Video Magazine is also your key to the LSU Fighting Tigers with a weekly player profile.
I'm Taylor Simpson. Please join me each week for Select Event Video Magazine. And remember, with Select Event, the best in home video is just a phone call away.
Check Cablecast Magazine for daily showtimes on channels 2 and 36.
Ambition. We all have it, one way or another. Because ambition is what you want to do. The plans you have for your work. And what you want from your time away from work. At AmBank, we understand ambition, and we want to help you achieve yours. To help your business grow. Or help you take a nice vacation. Buy a new car. Or use a sophisticated investment account like MoneyMax. Or just get cash from Mint 24 machines all over town. Loans for just about any worthwhile purpose. From age to age. On through college. And buying that home of your dreams. Baton Rouge is a city with a lot of heart and a lot of ambition. And we think we go together very well. Because at AmBank, we share your ambition.
Michael Brooks, an LSU All-American before the season started, suffered an ill-fated season-ending injury against the University of Florida. We took his actions and put it to music for your enjoyment. Michael Brooks, we'll miss him, but let's watch and listen.
Well, Michael Brooks is quite a ball player, and so far, at least, if he doesn't come back, he has had a great career with the LSU Tigers, Doug.
They could use him right now, too,
Yes,
especially trying to stop that Georgia running game.
Well, it's been a great game. We think that the game has everything it needs just to be an outstanding attraction, and we're just having a ball with the game. It's a 14-10 game. Georgia leads, and LSU would be ahead. Had it not been for a fumble at the 17-yard line and scrambled by the Georgia quarterback, it's been really an interesting contest. We have some highlights of the game, beginning first of all with Ronnie Lewis, three-pointer to put the Tigers ahead by 3-0. Here's his action at the north end of the playing field. Lewis put the Tigers ahead 3-0, and he's done well recently in field goal kicking. And here's the Tiger touchdown with Harvey Williams jumping in for the 6 points. The Tigers then ahead by 10-0.
And it was important for Ronnie Lewis to get that first kick, John, and he and Harvey Williams put LSU out 10-0. But then this play to David McCluskey, he made a fine catch, and Jackson laid it out in front of him. Really, it was a shock to LSU. They controlled the game to that point, and since that time in the game, Georgia has taken over. Here's James Jackson displaying his great ability. This is the thing LSU feared. He's got the ability to turn a nothing play into a touchdown. That puts Georgia up ahead at halftime, 14-10.
And the Tiger mascot is at the goalpost and knocking himself out, but don't go too far with that because we have a lot of football left. 94 rushing yards for the Tigers and 105 for Georgia in the first half. 117 in the air for the Tigers, 89 for Georgia, and a score. Total yardage 211 for LSU and 194 yards for Georgia. 3 Tiger fumbles, 1 for Georgia. 1 interception by LSU, and the penalties, as you see them listed there, it's a very even game. Third down conversions, about the same. The sacks are really not of any consequences at this moment, and the possession time favors LSU. But the Tiger fumble at the LSU 17-yard line set up a Georgia touchdown, and then the scramble by James Jackson. And the 2 extra points, of course, have put the Georgia Bulldogs out in front of LSU, 14-10, but it's a fine game.
And though LSU led in time of possession in the first half, if you look back over the possessions in the first half, the segment of that first half when LSU kept the football offensively is the time that they controlled the football game and also led 10-0. In the second quarter, Georgia came over, and they really had the ball most of about the last 3 quarters of the second quarter, and also they put those 14 points up.
Georgia is deeper in running backs than LSU is. McCluskey has 34 yards so far. Henderson is carried for 33, and Lars Tate for 25, and James Jackson, the quarterback, for 20. Compare that with LSU's Williams rushing for 51 yards, and Martin for 42, and John Baptiste for 5. Hodgson is 10 out of 18 with an interception, and Jackson 6 out of 9 and a touchdown. The Tigers will kick off from the 35-yard line on the south, and here are Henderson and Lane back at the goal line for Georgia. Matt DeFrank will kick off. 30 minutes left to go in the Southeastern Conference game, and Georgia will have the first possession. Lane is going to field the ball and not run it out. First down and 10. The Georgia Bulldogs have the ball at their 20. There goes Fred Lane, senior from Decatur. Here's some other scores. Third quarter, Florida State has stretched its lead over the Tulane Green Wave, 28-12. Mississippi State is leading Arkansas State 24-9 in the fourth quarter. Our game is 14-10 starting the second half. Georgia on top. James Jackson has gone all the way. He steps in behind Todd Wheeler, number 63, and gives the ball off. Keith Henderson bumps up the middle, and there's that first down plunge stopped by Eric Hill. He gains 2. It's second down and 8 yards to go.
John, during that first half, Georgia got good execution from their fine tackle, Wilbur Strozier. He's a fellow when interviewed last week. He said, I hear they got a big lion down there they don't feed for a couple of days.
And when they were late getting on the practice field last night, an hour late, Doug wondered if Strozier Georgia had been out looking for the line. Screen pass to the left. That's Tate with the ball. First down. Gets by Rehage. Has a chance to go all the way. Pearson draws a beat on him and knocks him out of bounds at the LSU 26-yard line. What a play for Georgia. It goes 52 yards. There's a Tiger shaking up on it, and it's a simple screen pass to the left.
And well executed. Nicky Hazard is injured down about the 28-yard line. Let's see how it happened. Here's Tate taking the screen. There's Nicky Hazard, and it looks like he took it on his left knee. Tate made a fine run, and LSU also had a number of missed tackles on that play. As a matter of fact, Tate never was knocked off his feet. Right here at the end, he finally stumbled on out of bounds after taking a lick. But Georgia has really executed that play well. They've run screens and flat passes several times during the game. Nicky Hazard, there you see, is coming off the field. Let's hope that he's not seriously injured, but you could see that his knee was clipped out from underneath him, and certainly that's the injury.
Jordy Holberg, what's your report down there?
John and Doug, Norman Jefferson will not play for the remainder of the ball game. He has developed blood on the inside of his left knee. Rumor is out, there may be a little torn cartilage, but it's too early to tell. They'll x-ray after the ball game. He's through for the game.
Nicky Hazard is recovering a little bit. That's the longest play of the game. It measures 52 yards. First down at 10 at the 26-yard line. .54 on the drive so far. Caston makes the tackle. Ball is at the 23-yard line, LSU territory. Second down. A big play like that can break open a big game. Vince Dooley ranks third nationally in the number of wins among active coaches. Second down from the 23. 7 to go. That's Henderson stumbling along. Stuck his head down. It went right into the middle of Greg Jackson, who stops it. Sancho has a helping hand there. The LSU defense has allowed only 10 second-half points this year, and they'll be sorely tested right now by the Georgia Bulldogs.
Well, you recall last week against Florida, although LSU didn't give up any points, Florida drove down a number of times. They were right on the goal line 2 times. Kerwin Bell threw an interception 1 time. Another time, there was a fumble on the 2, but it was the other team mistakes that stopped them from scoring touchdowns. LSU's really got their backs to the wall this time.
Third down and about 2 inside the 20. Jackson is pulled down at the 20-yard line by Henry Thomas, who makes his biggest play of the game. Field goal tries in the offing with Steve Crumley, who is dead-eye Dick from this distance. He's hit 5 out of 8 overall this year. Carpenter will hold. By the way, that Carpenter fella out there, number 6, the holder, Doug mentioned he's a baseball player. He was all-state everything in high school in every sport he tried. Steve Crumley, 5 out of 8. His longest, 50 yards. This will be a 36-yard try. He's a straightaway kicker. No good. The Tigers take over at the point of the down. And so, Crumley misses. He's 5 out of 9. And the Tigers have the football at their 20-yard line.
And Henry Thomas's big play looms large. Without that big play, LSU was facing that touchdown. As it is, they came away giving up no points.
Now let's see what that does to the Tiger impetus. First and 10. There goes Sammy Martin. Away. Little bumps him off the field of play at the 43-yard line. That's a 23-yard gallop for young Sammy Martin.
And this is just a base play out of LSU's offense. You see the handoff, and he's just following his blockers, and he gets behind the convoy there. He makes an excellent decision to not cut back to the inside. He's got a good block on the outside and just turned on his speed.
Which proves that in football you don't have to run at full speed all the time. Martin Martin, 6 rushes, 65 yards so far on the game. First down, the Tigers are at their 43. Out of a hole, good field position, 4-man front defensively. Harvey Williams goes. He's gone. First down. The Tigers are inside the Bulldog 42. Don Little and Aaron Chubb, 19 and 28, make the tackle, and Harvey Williams is going. One of the Tiger players is shaken up on it. As we look at the play again.
In the first 2 plays of this half, LSU's pulling their offensive lineman. Ralph Norwood was out there, and Harvey Williams ran past him. If Ralph had turned upfield and made a block, I think Harvey may have gone the whole way. In fact, Ralph is the one who is being taken off the field.
They fell on him, Doug.
I think they fell on him. I think Harvey might have stepped on him there towards the end of the play. Let's hope that he's okay. He's developed into a pretty good football player. And John Witt talked often this season that Ralph Norwood is able to establish the correct frame of mind, he can be just about as good as he wants to be.
He's 6'7", weighs about 285. First down, the Tigers at the Georgia Bulldog 41. Didn't we tell you we had a game? Georgia leads by 4. LSU has the football. First and 10 at the Bulldog 41-yard line. There goes Harvey Williams. Look out. 8 yards out of bounds, maybe 9 at the 32. John Little is getting a workout defensively for Georgia. He makes the tackle here.
But here's a Harvey Williams move. Now he's on the left side. He gets the pitch. Watch him shake his shoulders to the outside and cut back in. This is a move all by himself. And he was untouched. Most of the running backs that you see are going to be knocked down, but Greg Williams didn't even get within 2 yards of him.
Williams has 76 yards so far, Doug, and that's a good performance for him. Second down, a yard to go, up the middle. First down for Williams to the 30. Williams came to the game with 189 yards. Also 6 receptions for 48. Comes off the field. Here's that Tiger band of the cheering section off to our left. That's the kind of spirit that makes it go here at LSU. A big crowd. We're saying something like 75 or 6,000, maybe 77. All the tickets were sold. Tigers averaging over 9 yards per play on first down. Hudson throws out here to the left. Overthrows McGee. But a rather soft pass, and that's a dangerous type, especially with a guy like John Little defending. He already has 1 interception. The Georgia team has 10 this year.
And Tommy Hudson knows that that was a mistake, John. I believe you are the one that pointed it out. The ball was thrown too softly. He had the open receiver. McGee was there. He's got to rifle that ball to him and let him run with it.
About the only Tiger I know in recent years who could throw that pattern as well as it needed to be thrown every time was Bert Jones, because he got the ball there zippy-like. Second and 10 at the Georgia 30. The Tigers of LSU have the football and will go to the inside with it. Sticky there for Sam Martin. He stopped at the 27. Paul Giles, tackler for Georgia. Next week the Tigers are at Kentucky. Then home for homecoming against North Carolina. Then Ole Miss and Alabama, and then Mississippi State, Notre Dame, and Tulane. Good season. Third down at the 27-yard line, and about 7.5 yards to go for a first down. Hodson barks it out, sends McGee back in motion toward the play, and goes back to throw. Up the middle, he's got Davis at the 15. He fumbles out of bounds. Still the Tigers ball at the 11. John Little knocks the ball away from Davis, but Davis has caught everything that has been thrown to him tonight except twice when he had problems.
And that time, when they lined up at the line of scrimmage, Wendell Davis had no one lined up over him. The play that was called, though, was for a crossing pattern. You see Hodson pointing there, and Davis came across the field. The ball was thrown just right in front of him, and he was able to put it to the sidelines. Fortunately, he was close enough that the ball went out of bounds.
Here goes Harvey Williams. Stopped by Giles. Going through right tackle. That's the 6th reception of the game for Wendell Davis. Got another first down there. He will be, and continue to be, if he doesn't get injured, he'll be one of the top receivers in the country this year because he has the look. There's Pete Mangurian of the assistant staff. Jerry Sullivan, Jesse Daigle we saw, and here are the Tiger cheerleaders who do a great job for the LSU Tigers. At the 9, the Tigers have 2nd down and 8. Norwood is back in the game at left tackle for LSU. Here's Hodson, lofty pass to Davis, touchdown! The Tigers regain the lead, 16-14. It's a 9-yard payoffer to Wendell Davis. Do they believe in him? Here it is again. And this great touch by Hodson.
Perfectly thrown pass. This is called a fade pattern. The receiver goes downfield, and the ball is thrown over his outside shoulder. And when thrown correctly, only the receiver has a shot at catching the pass. That ball was thrown perfectly. You've got to have someone with good hands to catch it, and Wendell Davis was the man.
Ronnie Lewis, number 8. Kicks the point after. It's through the uprights. 9:28 to go in quarter number 3. Timeout in the game. The score is LSU 17, Georgia 14.
All the exciting moments of the LSU Fighting Tigers on video with the amazing LSU Tiger Tales. From the National Championship of '58 to the Dalton James Gang of '85. The greatest games, greatest players, record plays, and more for just $39.95 and $4 shipping and handling. If you love the Tigers, you'll love the amazing LSU Tiger Tales. Call toll-free 1-800-626-4444 and order yours today. 1-800-626-4444 and get the Tigers by the tails.
The nationally ranked LSU volleyball team will host 2 matches in October. On the 14th, the Tigers will face Florida, and on the 28th, they'll play Southern Mississippi. Both matches will be played in the Assembly Center at 7 p.m. Come on out and see the exciting top-notch volleyball competition in the Assembly Center.
Everybody in the stadium is pumped up now, Doug.
And you called it. This is a great college football game. Fun to watch.
It is the best. Matt DeFrank will kick off from the 35-yard line to our right, and here goes the ball. Goal line and deep to the end line. What a kick! Georgia, 1st and 10 at the Bulldog 20. That was a 9-play drive covering 80 yards. Hodson, a 9-yard touchdown pass to Wendell Davis. Now, Davis was 3rd coming into this game and receiving in the country. He may go to number 1 after this game. First down. Lane out here. Naked reverse is what they call a naked screen, they call that. And Lawrence makes the tackle.
And Oliver Lawrence helped defense that play. James Pearson is out there, but it's tough when you're out there one-on-one and the flanker has the ball in his hands. You need that inside help, and Oliver Lawrence got out there quickly and held that potentially large gain to about a 2.5-yard pickup. Now, who says that the fans don't fire up the players? Matt DeFrank kicked the ball over the end line, and he's becoming more consistent at that. Boy, it really helps your kickoff game when you can do that.
A run up the middle by Lars Tate. Rehise wrestles him off the field, but he has a first down. That's about 8 on the play, out to the 31. Lars Tate, 2nd string running back, tailback. He's taken over as number 1 after the injury to the first stringer, Tim Worley. Congratulations to Harry Carpenter, who was honored at halftime here tonight. Inducted into the LSU Hall of Fame. He was a great track star here, led LSU to the 1957 SEC Track Championship. Osborne is the man in motion, and there goes Jackson to the left. The throw on the run. No, he's going to run it. on the run. Short of a first down. Caston has him. Hill tackling, and Marlboro right there at the point of the tackle. First half stats were pretty even, Doug. 211 in total yardage for LSU and 194 for Georgia. The kicking averages, we commented a little bit about other things. Matt DeFrank had a 37-yard average, and Carpenter had a 33-yard average. Not outstanding in that department. Henderson at left guard, bumping up for the first down, and I think probably he has it. Marlboro and others on the tackle. First down, Georgia. We'd like to think about that trip to Bluegrass Country next week, but we don't have time. We've got a lot of things to do here. First down and 10. Georgia at its 43, trailing the Tigers by 3 points, and a run by Tate. Caston horse collars him and pulls him down up the field about 4, maybe 5 yards. And you see Greg Jackson, his second start since becoming a Tiger varsity player, had 2 interceptions against Florida last week at Gainesville. Now the ball is at the Georgia 47-yard line. 7:33 to play in the third quarter. Georgia down by 3 and sticking with its program, and LSU hitting hard defensively. Second down, 6 to go. Jackson rolling back to throw. Chase. He's going to have to hurry now. Spill by Pearson. Polished off by Caston and company. Guidry gets about 10 yards in the first down. But a scrambler is worth a lot. Remember how Archie Manning did it at Ole Miss in years past.
Sure is. And watch, here's the small mistake that inexperience cost you. Oliver Lawrence, if he had kept his feet and kept the right angle rushing, would have forced Jackson back into the flow of the defense. As it was, he allowed Jackson to get outside and around him, and that's where the scrambler is going to hurt you.
You have to stay on your feet. First down and 10 yards to go. Georgia at the LSU 43, and Lane is in motion. Jackson hands off to Tate. He's pulled down by Wilson. Catches him behind the line. That's Keith Henderson, the ball carrier, 30 instead of 32. Second down, 11. James Jackson in the air is 8 out of 11 for 141 yards. He's the first quarterback of this style Georgia has ever had in modern times. Of course, you go back to Tarkenton and a lot of people like that. Bratkowski. He's going to throw again. Has a man, that's McCluskey. Down he goes. Way short of a first down. Slowed by Caston. Tackled by Sancho. 25 Pearson.
Here's Jackson, and his accuracy has been tremendous tonight, but he's going to take a lick from Oliver Lawrence right as he gets rid of the ball. Lawrence knocked him over about 3 or 4 feet, but McCluskey with another reception. We mentioned earlier in the game that Georgia this year, for the first time, is utilizing their running backs in the passing game a great deal. That's all the people they're throwing to.
Third and 3 at the LSU 36. Possession down for the Bulldogs. Here come the Tigers, and a pass up the middle is incomplete. Big rush behind the line by Henry Thomas, forced an error throw by James Jackson, and Marlboro is back there defending.
Here in the second half, LSU is making this big play on third down. Watch Darren Marlboro, and there's Henry Thomas. Marlboro's going to be covering the receiver, and he dives, is able to get a hand on the ball, though the pass was thrown short because of the rush by Thomas, and that's what made the defensive play.
Fourth down and 3. Georgia going for it at the LSU 36-yard line. We told you they're pulling out all stops, and here's Georgia going for first down on a fourth down and 3 at the Tiger 36-yard line. Jackson is going to throw way down there. Incomplete. Too far for Lane. The Tigers take over at their own 36-yard line.
this play is a great play of Ron Sancho. He's at right side linebacker to your left. He comes in and he keeps his position. He makes Jackson stop. And so Jackson was not able to scramble to the outside and had to throw a very difficult pass.
That's the point you made on the previous play.
Exactly. Fine play by Sancho and really an important part of this ball game.
First down, 10 yards to go. LSU at the Tiger 36 after holding the Bulldogs. The Tigers protect a 17-14 lead. There's a screen pass to Martin. He was faking but not fooling. Greg Williams, left cornerback, makes the tackle out there. He had those shoulders rocking, didn't he? Like he was listening to a little music going down the field.
I have a feeling you like those plays where they throw it out there and let him run with it.
2nd and 1 to go. The Tigers are at their 45. There's Harvey Williams. Boy, can he go. First down for Williams and the Tigers at the Georgia 39. I get the feeling that Georgia thinks every time Harvey Williams gets the ball, my goodness, what am I going to do with this fella now?
Well, you're getting that feeling. He explodes through the hole, and now he's learning to get downfield, and he's running over some people now. He's big enough, John, to do that when he gets up that head of steam. 97 yards and 17 carries. That's better than 5 yards per rush. And Harvey's starting to look a little more comfortable in this offense.
I want to tell you a story about him in a minute. Here's Hudson back to throw. Down the field he goes. Incomplete to Martin. He tried a one-hander, and it was almost intercepted by the reverse 23 in the white, Greg Williams. Last week, coming back from Gainesville on the airplane, about 30 minutes from touchdown, Harvey Williams, who was sitting right across the aisle from us, started really, well, primping. That's really the word I need to use for his arrival. And he had bought a Gators cap. And he finally got the cap at precisely the right angle, the Florida cap, and put his glasses above his eyes, and he was prepared for his return home. He really has a lot of vanity. And here is a run that is going nowhere by Sammy Martin. On 2nd down and 10, Brantley hauls him in behind the line of scrimmage by about 2 yards. 3rd and 12 at the Georgia 41-yard line.
You know, he had asked me, John, about 10 minutes before the time you're talking about. He came up to me and said, do you think we're going to have a lot of people waiting for us at the airport? Now I know he's putting that cap on the right way.
Norman Jefferson has a twisted knee. He's on shorts, crutches on the sidelines, will not return in this game. 3rd and 12 at the Georgia 41. The Tigers lead by 3. 3rd quarter. Hodson back to throw, has time. Here it goes. Risky pass. Unfortunately for Hodson, he had Wendell Davis wide open in the moonlight, but he elected to go to Harvey Williams. The pass is broken up by Gary Moss. 4th down. DeFrank will be kicking. Will Georgia rush in a situation such as this? We'll see. Lane is the return possibility back at the 10-yard line. Matt DeFrank, a 40-yard average in the game, and he's 41 yards away from the goal line here. A lot of time, and kicks a high one. And short. I've always wondered about players easing up on, it's out at the 18-yard line, easing up on a punt to try to get it out of bounds, just kind of pop it out of there. Some kickers I've known in past years have just flailed away at it and kicked it as far as they could, way up in the stands, and try to keep their motion proper. In any case, Georgia has relatively good field position.
John, the people that I've seen who are best at kicking the ball out of bounds from a short distance kick it completely different than they do the normal punts. They'll go ahead and kick it end over end, forward end over end, low trajectory, so it'll maintain a straight line rather than curve, which is what causes the problem.
Here's that tailback, Lars Tate, ramming up to about the 25-yard line. Gets 7 yards over left guard with Caston making the tackle. Help from Darren Marlborough. Marlborough is the fellow from Metairie been out a good while because of an injured knee and resulting several operations on the knee to get back in playing shape. 2nd and 3. The Bulldogs are at their 25, down by 3 points. McCluskey looking for room. First down. He stopped at the 30. And Georgia, at least in this particular series of downs so far, just seems to be turning on the power.
They've run the ball well for most of the ball game. Ever since they really got back into it in the second quarter, they have run the ball extremely well in the middle of the LSU defense. But this half, LSU's defense has come up with big plays on the 2 Georgia drives on 3rd down, and that's really been the thing that shut Georgia down. They've moved the ball well.
First down and 10. Georgia at its 30. A draw play with McCluskey. Draws a crowd a yard up the field. Carl Wilson leads the LSU team and has his purple jersey draped all around the ball carrier. In this half so far, Georgia has a total of 106 yards total offense. LSU has 103. That's roughly half what each of the teams had in the first half. And is that McCluskey?
I believe it is, John. He got caught underneath that pileup. There are a lot of people on that pileup. I don't know if he got his leg buckled up underneath him. They're looking at his knee, and that's one of the classic ways that an injury occurs.
We're going to have a full-fledged timeout here as McCluskey, who has 43 yards carrying the football, is being lifted to his feet, and he will go out of the game. Coming on for LSU, Nicky Hazard and Tommy Clapp. Off, Darren Marlborough and Carl Wilson. There's the Georgia offensive huddle. Henderson, number 30, will be the up back, and Lars Tate, number 32, is the I back. He dots it to the left. 2nd down, 9. Fake run, pass up here, complete to Henderson. First down, he's at midfield. Down he goes. Jackson hits him hard at the 47, 22 yards on the play, and Chris Carrier is in on the tackle also.
This is a play that's hurt LSU. Watch Nicky Hazard now. This is his man 30 coming out of the backfield. He's got to cover him on the pass play, and it's a rollback pass out in the flat. And Hazard's just not able to get out there quickly enough because he has to come up and be prepared to play the run also.
The inside linebackers for the Tigers were out of position on that play. First down and 10 yards to go at the LSU 47. Georgia with the ball, and the Tigers of LSU with a 3-point lead. There goes Henderson. Again, Georgia stays with the trend and goes up the middle on first down.
Now, I have to say, in defense of those LSU inside linebackers, they are responsible for making a majority of the tackles in the running game, and it's very difficult when a team is running the ball pretty effectively on you for you to cover both those running plays and to get out in the flat and cover those backs. It's an awesome responsibility, which is why you need such talented athletes there.
There goes a new flanker, David Dukes, in motion. There goes Tate. Tackled about at the line of scrimmage. That was 2nd down and 8. Now it's going to be 3rd down and 7. Darren Marlborough back in the game and makes the tackle, and somebody slow getting up. That's Henry Thomas. 28 seconds to play in the 3rd quarter. What a game. Tigers have a 5th defensive back in the game as Rehard trots on, and Oliver Lawrence, the linebacker, comes off. 3rd down, 7 at the LSU 44. Jackson to the air. He'll be rushed. Screen pass out here. It's complete to Tate. They're chasing him. They've got him, but he gets the first down. Tommy Clapp makes the tackle. 14 yards on the play. And that's the end of the 3rd quarter here at Tiger Stadium. A big game in the SEC. Here's your score. LSU 17, Georgia 14. The 4th quarter comes up in a minute.
Laser, Astrovan.
Fondren has the selection, so get what you really want. Fondren Fever. Catch it.
The Tigers' next home appearance will be October 25th when the Tar Heels of North Carolina make their first appearance in Tiger Stadium since 1964. In addition to all of the exciting football action and homecoming ceremonies, a fireworks spectacular will be presented at halftime. The fireworks show will be under the direction of world-famous Zambelli International. Special thanks to Gottschalk's Maison Blanche, Nike and Trammell Crow for making it possible to have a halftime to remember. That's in 2 weeks from tonight, October 25th, LSU versus North Carolina. Remember the time North Carolina came in here with Charlie Choo-Choo Justice?
I don't remember that.
And the Tigers were accused by North Carolina of getting the field too wet to stop the big All-America. They go the other way. The Bulldogs are running to the 25. Second down and 5. Barbay makes the tackle. Keith Henderson, the ball carrier. Yes, it was back when Charlie Justice was playing back in the late 40s. Great All-America player at North Carolina. And LSU got a little too much water on the field to suit the North Carolina coach, Carl Snavely, and the Carolina fans. But they played the game and LSU won. And Justice was not a factor in the game. Second and 5 at the 25 in LSU territory. Georgia, good drive underway. Henderson, a halfback pass. No, he's going to run it. Gets 2 yards. It appeared to me that Troy Sadowski, the tight end number 87, who stands 6'5" from Chamblee, was slow getting down the field on his route, and therefore Henderson elected not to throw.
Well, I think this is the same thing they tried earlier in the game when Tate slipped down. Henderson was slow. He wanted to throw the ball, but as you mentioned, Sadowski was not able to get out, but he was also covered, which is one of the reasons LSU didn't have good coverage the first time they did that time.
Third down, about 3 at the LSU 23. Up the middle. That's McCluskey for a first down at the Tiger 14-yard line. Stopped by Carrier. By the way, Georgia backs in receiving have gone 9 receptions for 176 yards. The wide receivers have caught 2 for 10.
Now watch this blocking in the middle of the line, which is where it's effective. They're just going out and drive blocking, and they get a big opening in that LSU defensive line to pick up the first down.
They say at the 15, Georgia has first down. They started back to their 18-yard line. Down by 3, the Bulldogs are trying to get it back. Here goes McCluskey up the middle for 5 yards to the 10-yard line. Wilson spills him. Here's tonight's official attendance. 78,252. Another big Tiger crowd. LSU perennially operates in the top 10 in total football attendance. Second down and 5 yards to go at the LSU 10. Georgia with the ball. Osborne in motion. Jackson pitches back. There goes Lars Tate with the ball. Eric Hill tackles at the line of scrimmage. He gets a yard falling ahead. One of the replacements for the departed Michael Brooks. A good job there. Eric Hill, a sophomore, is from Galveston, Texas, and weighs 240.
John, we've talked tonight about how an atypical Georgia team this is, but it's a typical Georgia team in one respect, and that is they do not beat themselves. They have kept the ball on this drive. They don't fumble the football. They don't make mistakes. They don't have penalties. That's not to say that they may not at some time, but they've been error-free so far.
Third down, 3rd and 4 at the Tiger 9. Big play here. Jackson throws to the end zone. Incomplete. Knocked down by Pearson. He thought he had an interception, but he got a little hasty with it. And he's disappointed, but it's 4th down, and that will force a field goal try by the Georgia Bulldogs.
And should have been an interception. He had the ball right in his hands and just dropped it. Watch Henry Thomas, though. He puts the pressure, and he makes Jackson throw the ball falling backwards. It was a badly thrown pass. The ball was right in Pearson's hands, and he just couldn't hang on to it.
That's a 73-yard drive by Georgia. It stalls at the LSU 9. 5 out of 9. Steve Crumley is trying one that is 26 yards long. Straightaway kicker. No good to the left. He missed 2 in a row here. And the score remains 17-14 Tigers. And in his defense, it was at a very terrible angle for him. So the game is still on. The Tigers still are ahead. 17-14. We'll return in a moment.
Bring your new car fever to Fondren Chevrolet. Fondren's 1986 clearance sale means a hot, hot deal on your dreammobile. Chevrolet Nova, Monte Carlo, S10 Blazer, Astrovan. Fondren has the selection, so get what you really want. Fondren Fever. Catch it.
Back to play with 11:47, and we've had a play up to the 40-yard line of the 39. As LSU got all the way back upfield, and that was Sammy Martin up the field to the 39-yard line as they got back to play in a hurry. So now the Tigers have pretty good field position. 11 and a half minutes to play in the game, and the Tigers are trying to do something about adding to a 3-point lead. Hodson fakes the run, shoots a pass. McGee's first reception darts off the field after picking up a first down at the Bulldog 49-yard line. Good play by McGee.
And Hodson holds the ball a long time here before he throws it, but it's a play-action pass. He gets back, he's looking for Wendell Davis, and then sees McGee short, throws it to him along the sidelines. McGee gets past the first down marker and steps out.
Here come the Tigers, and there goes Sammy Martin. Breaks out the 10, 15. Down he goes at the Georgia 32 in the arms of Aaron Chubb, and we're at it again. Mike Brown assists on the tackle. Good run by Martin.
And LSU's been so successful throwing the ball to the slot side of the formation. Georgia has to load an extra defensive back there. And here you see Sammy Martin gets a one-on-one situation in the open field. He gets by the cornerback and is able to get down for another first down to the 32-yard line.
Here come the Tigers. Al Bergamo over the ball, flanked by Malasaw and Andolsek. To the outside of them, Hazard and Norwood, and Hodson rifles it down the middle. Not a good throw. Incomplete. Looking for McGee. Threw it well behind him, and he had Wendell Davis open deeper down the field. But McGee is shaken up. Here's that replay.
Let's take a look now. This is the play-action pass again. The ball was not correctly thrown, although you don't know if McGee didn't run the correct pattern. It may be that he was supposed to hold up on it. At any rate, he took a pretty good shot on his hip, and he's still down on the field.
McGee is a tough guy, and he'll come out of there. Just took a hard bump.
There you go. He'll be back.
Little showbiz rest there for Raji McGee. And it's going to be second down and 10 at the Georgia 32-yard line. Everybody is moving the ball. 10:47 to play in the game. LSU has 17 points and Georgia has 14. Martin is the tailback, and Garland Jean-Baptiste is the up back. In an eye with the slot to the right. Moss is the slot man. Wide man, Wendell Davis. Hodson checks off, gives to Martin. Spilled by Harris on the way through the right side. He stopped at about the 28-yard line. Ten and a half minutes to play in the game, and McGee trots back into the offensive huddle. Sam Martin is 106 yards. He and Harvey Williams have been a good 1-2 punch for the Tigers in this game. Third down and 7 at the Georgia 29. Hodson throws out here wide of the mark, and Jean-Baptiste can't get it. Again, Hodson, it seemed to me, needed to have more mustard on the ball.
He's thrown some good passes this evening, John, but he's also, more than we've seen him earlier this year, missed receivers behind him or thrown a ball a little too soft in a situation that called for him to zip it in there.
A 46-yard field goal try by Ronnie Lewis. He has the leg for it, but hasn't done it this year. Here it is. It's good. Ronnie Lewis kicked a 46-yarder. And the LSU Tigers lead the Georgia Bulldogs 20-14. Back to Tiger Stadium in a moment.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special announcement. New Generation, the originators of discount prices on name brand electronics, have announced this week that they will be continuing their one-year interest-free financing. These people and hundreds of others have flocked to New Generation. Why? Because they have the lowest prices, the largest selection, and zero, yes, a 0% interest rate on 1 year of financing. That's only at New Generation.
10 minutes and 1 second remaining in this ball game. LSU has taken a 20-14 lead. This is the type of game that I think we expected, but you never know if you're really going to see one. It's been an outstanding college football game. Really very few mistakes, hard hitting, great individual plays, and really the difference in this game has been that Georgia has missed 2 short field goals from their very reliable field goal kicker, Steve Crumley. Ronnie Lewis has made his 2 field goals, and LSU is up by that margin, 20-14.
That was a 63-yard drive. From the 5, Henderson. Slowed up behind there and not tackled purely by Chris Cruz, but off balance, and Jamie Bice and Bryant make the tackle up the field. 7 plays, 52 yards, a 46-yard field goal by Ronnie Lewis. 20-14. LSU leads. Georgia has the ball. First down at the Bulldogs, 25. 9:54 to play in the game. That's Lane in motion to the left, out of an eye. And Jackson is backing up to rifle it. He's being chased by Thomas. Sancho makes a bone-crushing tackle of him at about the 27-yard line.
That Ron Sancho is something else. He says he's not even the best athlete in his family. Have a hard time believing that, because he's taken what he thinks is mediocre talent and turned it into a pretty solid football player. Watch him come up and make a tough open field tackle on James Jackson. He's in the right place at the right time. A real asset to this LSU defense.
Ron Sancho from Avondale played high school football at Shaw High School. Here's a pass completion up the field. And there's a new player in the game, John Thomas. That's his 6th reception of the year. A 17-yard play there for Georgia. And the Tigers played a little softly. First down for the Bulldogs at their 45-yard line.
And LSU didn't want to give him this much room. Jackson with a soft roll to the left, and Thomas is out there. I think that Pearson and Guidry felt that each other was going to be more responsible to cover that play. As it was, neither was close enough, and Thomas made the reception to get Georgia up to the 45.
Tigers have 3 down linemen, an extra defensive back on the field, and it's going to be another pass as Jackson is chased out of the pocket again. They've got him this time. And credit that tackle to Henry Thomas. And guess who else is there? Ron Sancho. Sancho earned second-team freshman All-America honors from Football News last year. He posted 72 tackles and finished 4th on the team in that category.
Good solid defensive pass rush here. Jackson goes back, and he gets rushed from both sides and runs straight up the middle. That's the only place to go. And here comes Sancho right there. Henry Thomas with good pursuit to make the tackle.
2nd and 8 to go. The Bulldogs work from their 47. James Jackson cocks his arm, throws to a short man, Keith Henderson. He's a good receiver, gets the first down at the Tiger 43. Smash cashed out by Kevin Guidry of Lake Charles.
And LSU's having a heck of a time trying to cover those backs coming out of the backfield. You've seen the number of times that Georgia has thrown the ball to either the fullback or the tailback. Very uncharacteristic for this football team, but very effective because the LSU linebackers have to play the run and then cover those people coming out of the backfield.
Jackson 13 out of 19. First down at the LSU 43. Henderson again. 8 yards on the play. Knocked off balance out there by Greg Jackson. Flag on the play, and we have a Tiger player, Henry Thomas, who's very slow getting up. Trainer John Anderson's out there. Ineligible receiver downfield. That's the third such infraction by Georgia in this game. That will nullify the play and bring a 5-yard penalty. Henry Thomas is out of the game. Clapp is out of the game. And Roland Barbie is in. The Tigers have another defensive back in the game. Sometimes they have 6 defensive backs on the field.
That 6th guy didn't cover the receiver, though. LSU is having an awful difficult time. They just haven't figured out what Georgia is doing in their passing game. Henderson, I don't know how many balls he's caught tonight, John, but he's certainly been a thorn in LSU's side.
The look of sterno was on Vince Dooley's face, though, on the other side of the field. First down at 15. Now from the Tigers 48, Georgia has the ball. The Tigers have a 6-point lead. Fourth quarter, Jackson to throw. That's Tate. Tigers had that one figured out, and he's going to get short yardage on the play. Looks as if he gets 4. That'll be second down and 11. Lars Tate.
Georgia,
he's 209.
Georgia executes that screen very well. They've run it a number of times tonight. They've picked up yardage on it just about every time. 2-0 against LSU. That's Vince Dooley's record. That's 1 time here and 1 time in Athens. And really, he beat LSU teams that had more talent than he had on his ball club.
This is the first time Coach Dooley has faced Coach Arnsparger in the SEC. Barbie runs past Jackson, but he's in trouble, and it's Eric Hill. So a double-jointed effort with Roland Barbie and Eric Hill. There they are right there. And Jackson goes down way behind the line, losing 12 yards.
And that's a great open field tackle by Hill. First, Jackson goes back, and he doesn't have time to throw it because of what Barbie does. And then Eric Hill with as solid a tackle as you can have, particularly on as quick a quarterback as James Jackson is. And every time Jackson has to run out of that pocket and keep the football and take a lick, he's going to get a little more fatigued, and that's exactly what LSU's got to do. Overuse him, make him a little less sharp than he would rather be.
Third and 23 for Georgia at the Bulldog 44. Jackson, long pass up the middle. It's going to be incomplete. Intended for Warner, who comes up with a little extra bumping of Steve Rehage. And the officials threw no flags. Fourth down. Great defensive series for the LSU football team right here. And so a punt is coming up from Chris Carpenter, who hasn't had all that great a night kicking the ball. And Lee, number 26, Alvin Lee, freshman from Beaumont, is backing up inside his 20. Nice kick. Fair catch signal at the 15-yard line by Lee. So the Tigers defensive team comes to the forefront and shines at the head of the class. And the Tigers take over the football at their 15, 6:29 to play in the game. LSU leads Georgia 20-14. Strong side right on a slot with John Batiste and Harvey Williams back there behind Tommy Hodson, number 13. Here comes Williams. You won't get him from behind. He's out of bounds at the 24-yard line. Gets 9 yards again on first down. Greg Williams pushes him off the field. Now you'll see here that Williams just outruns the man who's trying to get him from behind. And let's see who that is.
And LSU's just pulling the entire offensive line. Williams gets just a step on Wycliffe Lovelace, and that's all he needs. Wycliffe is pretty quick, but he's not that quick.
Second down and 1. Harvey Williams now has over 100 yards, as does Sammy Martin. And he gets the first down. 6:18 to play in the game. Bill Goldberg makes the stop. Tony Moss comes on the field, number 6. The Tiger offensive line has come of age, and maybe the entire LSU team, and for that matter, the Georgia team. Each one has matured, it seems, in this game. But the game has had a little bit of everything. Interceptions, fumbles, long runs, long passes. And here's Harvey Williams again. Second down after the run and the tackle by Giles at about the 30-yard line. A long 7 yards to go for a first down. Here comes Harvey Williams. Sammy Martin comes on to replace Harvey Williams. I'm not sure why he came off. Nothing wrong with him, it seems. Now the Tigers from their 30. 5:20 to play in the game. Hodson throws a quick pass to McGee. Tries to evade John Little, but can't do it. He's down to about the 34-yard line.
That was a good tackle by Little. He was out there all by himself. Georgia had blitzed, and Hodson picked it up and tossed the ball out there quickly to McGee. Here you're going to see Bradley coming, the outside corner coming, and Little has coverage there, is able to pull McGee back and keep him from making the first down.
Third down and 3. The Tigers are at their 34-yard line. A couple of receivers wide to the left. Tight end Kinchen on the right, and Hodson is going to the air. No to Martin. And Hodson is a little bit off the mark again. Fourth down coming up. 4:34 to play in the game. 78,000 plus satisfied customers in this stadium tonight as the Tigers lead in the fourth, 20-14. Matt DeFrank will kick to Lane inside the 20. Sort of a line drive kick, but a good deep one back to the 14. There goes Lane to the other side. Mickey Harris and Chris Carrier ride him down. And somebody else out there on that 4-yard return had a hand on the tackle for LSU, and that's Vern Osbury, number 98. Willie Brand in the area of the tackle. So now it is first down for Georgia. The Bulldogs will attempt to come back the other way from their 18-yard line.
Now, this is the area in the game that LSU has been very opportunistic on defense so far this year. That is the end of the game, the other team down slightly. They've returned these interceptions against Texas A&M and Florida for touchdowns. Let's see if the Tigers can repeat.
Jackson intercepted, and that is by Toby Caston. And the Tigers go the other way at the Georgia 31-yard line. Caston is ecstatic.
Yeah, but Toby's supposed to take that ball in for the touchdown. Toby, I called you play for you. He's back in the lane, in the perfect passing lane. He goes up in the air and makes the catch. You can see by that footwork why he's not a receiver. Let's take another look at it. Toby Caston drops back in the passing lane. He knows exactly where he's supposed to be. He's in the right place and makes the interception. There's a flag down on that play, John, and the officials are discussing it.
The ball is going back to the point of the down. It's going to be first down for LSU, though. And against Georgia's declined, of course. 4:17 to play in the game. No, LSU gets a 5-yard penalty. Randy says they were partying. I guess that's a good way to put it. First down at 15 at the Georgia 36-yard line. 4 minutes and 17 seconds to go in the game, and LSU has a 6-point lead. 4:17 away from administering the second defeat of the year on the Bulldogs and staying unbeaten in the SEC along with Alabama. There goes Harvey Williams with it. Good block by Norwood, and Williams really wades through people for 6 yards to the 30. John Little chases him down again, and we won't have time to check on all the tackles that Little has put on the Tigers tonight, but he's had a bunch of them.
But Ralph Norwood's got to learn to run faster if he's going to be on this relay team. He gets out there and makes a good block, but Harvey waited for him, and meanwhile the Georgia defense was catching up with him. Still picked up about 6.
Little discussion, and at time we have a player shaken up on it, and it's one of the LSU players, and Norwood is in trouble again.
John, he's out there. Remember, this is the second time that Ralph Norwood has been out there trying to block in front of Harvey Williams. I don't know if he's gotten stepped on. It doesn't look like anything other than some type of fatigue problem, or perhaps he got his leg stepped on.
He's trying to lift 280 pounds there. He'll be replaced by Ray Brock. 255-pounder. I think Norwood is just tired.
I think so, too. It's a good thing he's walking off, because the trainer, John Purdy, there was about to be injured trying to carry Ralph off the field.
Raji McGee, you see him in the picture there, has just overtaken Doug Morrow for 9th place on the LSU career receiving list with 930 yards. Well, Doug, you can't help it at this stage.
At least he's wearing a good number.
Yes, he is.
That number.
Doug Morrow wore jersey number 80 in a brilliant career in the Tiger uniforms back in the middle 60s. Second down from the 30. Hodson. Quick pass out here. That's Davis to the 25. Stopped by John Little again. Without Little, Georgia can't play.
He is everywhere. He was their overback that they moved to safety. And Coach Dooley said before the game he'd like to have 11 of those John Littles. He could play defense with anybody, and that's correct. He's a fine open field tackler, very, very smart. He's always in the right place.
About 3 minutes to play in the game. What a night Wendell Davis has had. He's way out there to the left with McGee, who's shorter than he. And there goes Harvey Williams. First down to the 21-yard line. 2:55, 53, 2:50 to play in the game, and the clock will stop, and the chains will move ahead. LSU controlling the football after the interception by Caston. Williams shows you how to do it, and he's down at the 21-yard line. We said first down. They will now measure it. Caston has 10 solo tackles in the game and 10 assists and 1 interception. He's had quite a night too, hasn't he? Are we right? Wrong. The width of a hand away from a first down at the 21-yard line. Fourth down.
And what a difference those inches might make, John. Fourth down. Ronnie Lewis is in the ballgame to try a field goal. Had LSU come up with that first down by gaining another 2 or 3 inches, they would have a new series. Georgia would have to start using up their timeouts. Ronnie Lewis has to try the field goal, and if this thing were to get blocked, the game changes around.
A 38-yard try by Ronnie Lewis. It's going. It's good. The Tigers lead 23-14. And Lewis kicks a 38-yarder. Back to the game for the final 2:33 in a minute.
Some Some healthcare plans make checking into the hospital seem like a nightmare, but not Blue Cross. Blue Cross is linked to almost every major hospital in the state by the most sophisticated computer network of its kind. In seconds, it can transmit vital information from your hospital to Blue Cross and back again. And that can make checking in and out a whole lot easier.
Finished. Sorry.
Innovation. From Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Louisiana, you can depend on it.
Minutes and 33 seconds to play in the game. LSU will kick off, and Georgia will try to return. And Lewis, 3 field goals in the game have been devastating for the Georgia Bulldogs.
And
what a game.
That's the story of the game, John, the kicking game. And that's a part of the game that Georgia seldom loses. They've had such great field goal kickers in the past. Alan Levitt, Rex Robinson, Kevin Butler, the finest in the country.
Matt DeFrank kicks off again for the Tigers. It goes to Lane at the goal line. Bobbles the ball. He better stay back there. Touchback, and Georgia will put the ball in play at its 20. I like it, Doug. I like it.
I do too. I'll tell you one thing I like about tonight. Ronnie Lewis has gotten past the problem he had with the fans simply by being successful, and he's graciously accepted his success tonight rather than try to communicate with the crowd at all.
Well, there have been no friendly gestures toward the crowd in this game.
That's right.
Now from the 20, Georgia must play catch-up in the final 2:33 of the game. Utah pass. Keith Henderson surprises the Tigers. He's out of bounds up the field at the 37-yard line. He gets 17 on the play. That's that little shovel pass ahead. We talked about it originating with Jack Curtis in Utah out in the Big Sky Conference. That play required 7 seconds to run. A far cry from the Ole Miss 17-16 game when the Tigers ran a play in 4 seconds. First down for Georgia. Clock moves, and Jackson is going to have to run. And he's being chased by Marlborough and tackled by Greg Jackson, who has really come on to be a first-rate secondary man for the LSU Purple and Gold. The gain is for 1. Greg Jackson. Sophomore from Miami. Last year had 9 tackles all year long. The last time LSU had 2 backs with 100 yards in the game was in 1984 on September 15th. Jackson again to throw. Coverage still good. He'll have to run out of there. Down he goes before being hit by Toby Caston. Gary James that night had 122 yards, and Dalton Hilliard had 166. Tonight, Harvey Williams so far has 120 yards, and Sam Martin 106. 2 Tiger players with 100 yards each. And James Jackson has been bumped down pretty hard there. He took a tumble, and then Caston came down on top of him. But I don't believe it was Caston who did the damage. I think it was Jackson's own problem in hitting the turf.
I think he probably landed on top of the ball. I don't know if it injured his arm or his shoulder, or if he just got the wind knocked out of him. 15 for 23 for 235. He's put on a show tonight. He's a fine young player. And he's going to get better and better because he's got a world of ability. He has all the ability to run. Look at old Mike.
A box of dog bones consumed by the LSU Tigers. Apropos of the situation. Wayne Johnson, number 18, comes in at quarterback for Georgia.
But didn't you quote Yogi? It ain't over till it's over.
That's
and
correct.
It ain't over yet. 2 minutes left.
Prophetic words. 2 minutes to play in the game. Cassius Osborne comes wide to the left. Another clean shirt is off to the right at wide receiver. 3rd down, about 3 to go for a first down. That's Henderson, the clutch player. 1st down and 10 to go for Georgia. A yard shy of midfield. Oliver Lawrence makes the tackle of Keith Henderson, number 30, from Indianapolis, Indiana.
And look at the execution. LSU's expecting the pass. It's a good call, a draw play. And Oliver Lawrence makes the tackle, but the first down gives Georgia new life.
Johnson throws up the field. It's a ricocheted ball that is incomplete, intended for the tight end Sadowski, who was being covered by Darren Marlborough. And the pass bounced almost high enough for Carrier to pick it off, but it didn't happen. Georgia has moved 29 yards to the Bulldog 49-yard line. The clock shows 1:44 to play in this game. The Bulldogs are on their way to a 3-2 record, and LSU is going to be at 3-1 after this one. Johnson throws a screen pass. Same play they've run a number of times. It's good again. First down for Georgia at the LSU 40. Lars Tate, the receiver and the runner, tackled by James Pearson. Pearson will be back next year, junior from New Orleans. 208 of James Jackson's 235 yards passing came on passes completed to running backs. Wide receivers have not been a real problem for the Tigers in the game. Johnson unleashes a long one down there, intercepted by Carrier at the 5. Here he comes, just loping along to the 30, out of bounds, just shy of the 30. And Chris Carrier comes up with another interception. The Tigers go the other way with 1:13 to play.
Chris Carrier felt he had something to make up for because of some defensive lapses against Miami of Ohio, and the last 2 games he's done just that. This play is played perfectly. His job is to come over from the center field and make the play to stop the deep pass, and he timed it exactly. He baited the quarterback into throwing the ball up, came over. He's got great height, great leaping ability. Heck of a basketball player, as a matter of fact. He was with the Tiger basketball team for part of last season to fill in when Dale Brown's troops were decimated by injuries, and he just made a terrific play.
That is Carrier's second interception of the year, and here go the Tigers with Williams. Gets good yardage on first down, waiting right up the middle, stopped by Gary Moss. Timeout, Georgia, with 1:05 to play in the game. Here's your score. LSU 23, Georgia 14.
The Fuel Use Act of 1978 outlawed natural gas power plants by 1990, including every plant GSU had.
18 months have underscored the importance of this legislation. A severe natural gas shortage during one of our most severe winters. A crippling and unpredictable coal strike.
To obey the law, we had to choose coal or nuclear. To be prudent, we chose both.
Tiger Vision salutes Delta, the official airline of the LSU Athletic Department and Baton Rouge's most established air carrier. Delta gets you there, just as it transports LSU's athletes to sporting events throughout the nation.
Next week, LSU plays at Kentucky. Join us on Tiger Vision for coverage of that game. Harvey Williams bangs ahead on 2nd down and 2 for a first down. Less than a minute to play. There's the information for you. The Tigers in Kentucky next week. Pre-game show at 6 o'clock Central Time. Kickoff at 6:30. Live from Commonwealth Stadium in Lexington. The Tigers go to the Bluegrass. Kentucky today was beaten surprisingly by Ole Miss 33-13. LSU is beating Georgia here tonight in a key Southeastern Conference game, 23-14. We have 59 seconds left to play in the game. Coach Arnsparger is telling Tommy Hodson how to conduct himself in the final minute of play. Good example of how lessons are learned in football right there.
And early in the 3rd quarter, he had a little chat with Toby Caston. And what you really enjoy watching, John, is when someone with Bill Arnsparger's knowledge and ability gets off to the side with the player on a one-on-one basis, instructs him in techniques, and then you see the player come back the next series and use that technique to make a great play.
Coach Dooley not very happy on the other side. Ruffin Rodriguez is in there at guard, and Hodson goes down to a knee. Georgia has no more timeout period remaining, and so the clock will just run along. Tiger defense has not given up a point in the fourth quarter this year. And in this game, that has been a key performance. And that one series that the Tiger defense had and trapped James Jackson way back for a big loss earlier in this quarter was really a stem winder of a thing to see. Second down, about 14 to go for a first down. Hodson goes to a knee again, and that'll be the last play of the game. The players begin congratulating each other. It's been a classic Southeastern Conference game here at LSU. The game had everything, and it had excitement most of all. The Tigers end up victorious in the game. The final count, the LSU Tigers 23, the Georgia Bulldogs 14. The Tigers stay unbeaten in SEC play. The Georgia Bulldogs sustain their first conference loss of the year. Now we're going down to Coach Arnsparger on the sidelines as soon as he is in position for us to pick him up. Jordy Hultberg is waiting for him. And let's go down to Jordy on the field as Coach Arnsparger approaches, and here they are.
From the special teams, offensively and defensively tonight.
It's a good win. We had to have it, and you know, I'm just real proud of the way our offense played. Our defense shut them out the second half, and then our special teams contributed, and that's what you have to have.
Confidence is such a big thing. Ronnie Lewis now has his confidence back.
Well, I hope so. We're going to be tested every week. Thank you.
Offensively, great games from Sammy Martin and Harvey Williams, both over 100 yards.
Is that right?
The passing game kind of kept in balance, and then defensively, Toby Caston, 20-plus tackles. Great individual performances.
Good. Well, we just got to keep working and hope we can get there.
2-0, keep it up with everybody. Good luck in Kentucky. Back up to the booth after this. LSU 23, Georgia 14.
Well, we loved the game. We hope you did too. And it ends up 23-14, LSU. And a big offensive star for LSU. One of them would have to be Ronnie Lewis, who had 3 field goals in the game. Sammy Martin and Harvey Williams had 100 yards plus rushing the football in the game. Defensively, Toby Caston was involved in 22 tackles. He had 12 solo tackles, so he would have to be one of the defensive stars along with Ron Sancho. Generally, the whole team played very effectively, but Georgia was no ratty-type opponent. Georgia has a fine team, too, Doug. It's been a good game.
I was very impressed with Georgia. They, as always, were very, very well coached. They've got, in my opinion, the finest quarterback that they have ever had, or at least in recent history.
Surely the most entertaining.
James Jackson is so capable of doing so many things. His passing ability surprised me. I didn't realize that he threw as accurately as he did, but his scrambling ability is something that everyone knew about. He had an outstanding game and put pressure on LSU constantly. The Georgia defense is what Coach Dooley felt was suspect, and it still remains suspect. Most of that is because he has a lot of freshmen and sophomores playing, but he's got some good players on that defense. Brandley and Little, I think, stood out throughout the entire game and gave LSU a difficult time. And typically of Georgia, they didn't make the mistakes, John, except in one place, and that's what cost them. That's in the kicking department.
Yep.
Chris Carpenter did not punt the ball as well as he normally would punt the ball, but that didn't hurt them. But Steve Crumley, their fine field goal kicker, was expected to really be a difference in this game, and going into the game, you had to give Georgia the edge in the field goal kicking department. He missed two very makeable kicks inside 40 yards, one, gosh, inside 20 yards.
Yeah.
And Ronnie Lewis, 3 for 3. Who would have thought 2 weeks ago that Ronnie Lewis would have won this ball game with the 3 field goals? I'm so happy for him, and I hope that he's back in good graces with the fans forever and ever. It remains that way.
They should make a picture of him this time without without the problem pointing that he was doing skyward. Just to review a few things here, Lewis opened the scoring with a 32-yard field goal. Then the Tigers had an 82-yard drive. Williams went over from close in. Then Georgia scored on a 31-yard pass from Jackson to McCluskey. And then after a fumble recovery at the LSU 17, Jackson scored on a scramble, and Crumley converted to make it Georgia 14-10. That's the way the half ended. And then in the third quarter, the Tigers had a 9-yard scoring pass, Hodson to Davis, who had a great night, and we failed to mention him earlier, but he did have a tremendous night catching the football. That was at the end of an 80-yard drive to put the Tigers back in front 17-14. Then Crumley missed, and Lewis hit to make the Tigers 20-14. And then after Caston intercepted at the Georgia 31, Lewis eventually converted from 38 yards out, and the final is LSU 23 and Georgia 14. And we have had a ball with this one because, as I mentioned, and it's trite to say it perhaps, but the game had everything. It had interceptions, it had some fumbles, it had long runs, long passes, back and forth up and down the field, and it was, I thought, a classic game.
Well, there's a phrase that coaches use, and I think it's very apropos in this game and games we've seen in the past, and that is that you really don't care from a spectator standpoint who wins when you have a game where both teams play hard. Coaches always say, go out there and play hard, and by that they mean do the very best that you can do. You're going to make mistakes, you're going to make errors. In this game, the coaches took advantage of what the other teams were giving them, and the players made some mistakes, but they also made big plays, and these are just young fellows who are in college. They're a lot younger than people believe they really are, but they're very young. They're going to make mistakes not only on the field, but off the field, but they played hard. They did the best they could, and really, as hard as LSU played, if Georgia had come out the winner in this game, if Ronnie Lewis had missed a couple of field goals and Crumley had made his field goals, I would have been proud of the Tigers because they played hard, and I'm proud of the Dogs,
It seems that nowadays in college football that there's no in-between. You're either a hero or you're a goat, one of the two.
Well, no goats tonight. I really don't believe that.
That's right. Well, we had a discussion at the production meeting today in which you may be interested. I posed the question that I, based on the fact that I think college football has changed in the last 3 or 4 years. It's a looser game. It's a more wide-open game. There are more unusual things happening in the game. And tonight, maybe that was borne out.
Certainly was. This is the type of game, though, that you would have seen 15 or 20 years ago where both teams are going at it. Mistakes are made, and because of the talent that players now have, everyone can throw and everyone can catch, and 20 years ago you had very few people who could do that. But because of the well-coached teams tonight, you saw that people had to work hard for what they got, and that's the kind of game that I think everyone enjoys watching. I know I enjoyed every minute of this one.
And both teams wanted to play, and that's important. We'll be back with some other comments in just a minute after this message. The Tigers have won 23-14.
College football at its best this Saturday when the LSU Tigers travel to Lexington to take on the Kentucky Wildcats. Don't miss this great SEC matchup live on Select Event via Tiger Vision for only $19.50. The Wildcats will be looking to avenge last year's shutout at the hands of the Tigers, while Bill Arnsparger's squad hopes to stay in the battle for the SEC crown. It's the Tigers against the Wildcats live this Saturday only on Select Event. To order, call 923-3500.
He doesn't know it yet, but he's about to become the world's first time traveler.
This is nuts.
Back to when his mother was a teenager looking for love.
It's an absolute dream. Whoa, this is heavy.
Back to when his father needed a little push.
I'm your density. No wonder I was even born.
Meet Marty McFly, the first kid ever to get into trouble before he was even born. Steven Spielberg presents a Robert Zemeckis film, Back to the Future.
Don't miss Back to the Future, coming to select event October 30th.
Think they're happy down there, Doug, that the people don't want to leave the band area up in the northwest stands.
They have good reason to celebrate tonight. And, you know, they enjoyed the game as much as we did. The last game here in this stadium, people left about halftime, and those who didn't leave at halftime left in the fourth quarter. Here you see how close the game was. When you go down to the bottom column there, 431 total yards for Georgia against a fine LSU defensive team. 395 for LSU against what I guess was a suspect Georgia defensive team, but they played hard the whole night long. LSU's defense made the big plays. They gave up a lot of yardage, but they did the important things, and particularly at the beginning of the second half, when Georgia drove it down the field, LSU's defense came up with the big plays and did what was necessary. First downs were about as even as you're going to get. Penalties, I don't think, John, that either team had any problems that hurt them a great deal with penalties, although I'm sure that at key spots, penalties could have affected the outcome. Georgia had a touchdown call back because of one, but went right in and scored the touchdown anyway. Fumbles, LSU continues to be plagued somewhat, but towards the end of the game, they were able to hang on to the football, and that's very important.
We put together some highlights, and since we digest those, we were thinking about what has happened in the game as far as Davis is concerned. Davis, third leading receiver in the country among the nation's major universities and colleges, and tonight he had a great night. He caught everything that was catchable going to his area tonight. And
they're throwing the ball a lot to him, and one thing that does, the running and the passing games complement each other so much. If you've got a passing game that people have to respect, it makes your running game go more effectively, and vice versa. You've got to have balance in order to have either one be effective. Wendell Davis is capable of making the big play. He's capable of beating a defender one-on-one. Other teams know that. And as the game progressed tonight, Georgia had to move an extra person out there. LSU had Wendell Davis and Roger McGee in a slot formation, and Georgia had to take a third defender out there, and it opened up the running game on the other side for LSU. And with the speed that Sammy Martin and Harvey Williams have, both picked up over 100 yards. And that's the type of thing you'd like, to have that balance of running to one side and throwing to the other.
Let's go to the highlights now, Doug, and let's see what has happened here. Here's the first score of the game by Ronnie Lewis. A field goal. This one was 32 yards long at the north end of the field.
And what a difference just a couple of weeks makes. Ronnie Lewis comes in, he concentrates on the kick, makes the kick, then off the field, and the fans cheered him.
Here's Williams' touchdown, and I wanted to say here that Davis' reception for 30 yards was the key play in the drive. And here's the Georgia 31 touchdown pass. It went for 31 yards.
And this is an example of James Jackson's passing ability. He throws the ball out there, and that's just about as good a catch as can be made anyway, but you need that execution. And here's Jackson's scrambling ability. He rolls out to the right. He sees the opportunity to cut back and take it into the end zone, and he gets the ball over the goal line before the fumble is caused by Chris Carrier. That's a pretty good play by the quarterback. Now here is Steve Crumley. 5 of 8 coming into the game. 50 yards was his longest field goal. This is a short field goal attempt, I think 36 yards, and he misses it to the right and missed it pretty badly. That hurt Georgia. They felt for sure they would get points up that time. Here you see a great pass by Hodson and Wendell Davis with an over-the-shoulder catch in his hands in the corner of the end zone. Crumley again missing this short field goal. This is what, 26, John? Or 30?
26 yards.
26 yards.
It was a miss.
And he didn't believe that it was missed, but it was missed.
And here's Carrier's interception, the big defensive play at the end of the game, and Carrier's second interception, and he just reached up and stole it away out of the O-zone. That's Willie Brandt out in front of him, and Carrier was directing traffic and coming on up the field and stepped out of bounds. He's a junior. Carrier will be back for another year, and the final count is 23-14. LSU wins. Well, next week, we'll be on Tiger Vision at 6 o'clock, beginning with the pregame show. Kickoff time of the LSU-Kentucky game is 6:30. Doug, what can the Tigers expect in bluegrass country?
Well, I think they can expect a Kentucky team that is going to be ready to play. Kentucky, I think, surprised everyone up to this time of the year with their success, but they were shocked by Ole Miss today. Incidentally, Ole Miss is an improving football team and has a terrific defense. So Kentucky will be ready for LSU. It's always a test up there. It's beautiful country, great stadium, and they've got a fine program. We're going to enjoy being there and bringing the game to you.
We hope you'll join us next Saturday. Meantime, the final score tonight at Tiger Stadium before more than 78,000. The LSU Tigers 23, the Georgia Bulldogs 14. John Ferguson with Doug Morrow. Thank you and good night from Tiger Stadium.